do to Doug Elton.
This is Robbie Eagles.
This is the loosest in Australian wrestling, Adam Brooks.
Hi, this is Mimic. This is 5-time the world's heavyweight champion, the Scrap Daddy himself, Scrap Iron Adam Pearce.
This is Brian Alvarez, and you are listening to Wrestle Radio Australia.
Welcome to the show, folks. My name is Josh Sharma, and thanks very much for downloading Wrestle Radio Australia. This is our first episode.
Oh, yeah! G'day, this is Big Brody Marshall.
This is Brian Alvarez.
This is Dean Brady of the Millennials.
This is Jurassic Punk Sid Parker.
How many of you guys have heard the term KK?
Hello, doggers. This is Jay Hunter from OSW Review.
This is Matt Grim Basso.
This is the loosest in Australian wrestling, Adam Brooks.
This is Scrap Iron Adam Pearce, and you are locked in
to Wrestle Radio Australia.
I in the game, I'm champion, I'm Triple H. Undertaker, I'm your maker, bury the brother like Kane. Ooh, 1-3, hit the tombstone, hit the choke slam on face. Ooh, yeah, like a macho heel, turn like a muscle. If you suffer like tomatoes, I'ma keep a couple models. Ooh, and you may call me HBK. When I'm tuning up the vein, you best be getting in my way. Ooh, yeah, I'm degenerate, I love it, yes, I love it. If you ain't down with that, then I got two words for you, suck it. Too sweet, put your fangs up. Too sweet, holding up the cup. Let's be busy, 23, got me feeling way too sweet.
I was trying to make chicken salad out of chicken shit, and it was just awful.
I've turned chicken salad into chicken shit. I will continue to do so.
Here I was, blaming AEW for feeding you chicken shit, knowing you mindless millennials would be eating it up as if it were chicken salad, when it's really been your fault all along.
Make chicken salad out of chicken shit. People is as people does, that's all there is to it. But a square peg in a round hole just never seems to fit.
This is Bianca Belair.
Hey, this is Kevin Owens.
Hey, it's Seth freaking Rollins.
It is the man, Becky Lynch.
It's Rhea Ripley here, and you're listening to Wrestle Radio Australia.
Hello and welcome to Making Chicken Salad, the Wrestle Radio Australia show where we talk about everything going on around the world of wrestling. My name is Lachlan Albert, and I am joined by the rest of the awesome foursome. That's right, it's all hands on deck tonight. We've got the podfather, Todd Eastman. Todd, how you doing, mate?
I'm good, my friend. How are you? Cold, but good.
I'm doing good, mate. We've also got the brain behind WrestleBrania. It's Geoff Setti. Always good to see you, Geoff.
Peace, fellas. Peace. I hope you're all doing well and not dealing with 58-year-olds. Move on.
That's a lot of 8-year-olds. We've also got... Sorry. We've also got the man.
Take a bow.
Thank you very much.
Introducing Jamie and take a bow.
We've also got the man behind Pario Magazine and Oz Wrestling Cards. It's Jamie Apps. Jamie, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. Just like Todd, cold but surviving.
That's the way. Look. It may be cold down here in Australia at the moment, but it is a hot time to be a fan of professional wrestling. There is so much going on around the world in wrestling news, and we're here to cover it all right here at twitch.tv/Wrestle Radio Australia every Thursday night. Get on at 7:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, so you're ready when we go live. Roddy Online says Jamie's got a big Showerman 2026 card announcement inbound. Roddy's been pushing for that one for a while, it seems. Yeah, it's always a cracking time to be here on a Thursday night, and people like Roddy Online in the chat make it what it is, so get amongst it and have a conversation. We're going to be talking tonight about a show that is, my favorite phrase, free on YouTube, so you can get amongst it by hitting the link in the description or going to YouTube and just searching for it. This one's Aus Pro Wrestling Generations. We've talked about Aus Pro Wrestling recently, Lord Andy Coyne's new project down there in Victoria, which has been... putting on some solid shows for a new company with some fairly big matchups, as well as maybe the headliner, one of our new favorite wrestlers here on the show, the young Owen Stedman, who is having a meteoric rise into the main event of this show. So absolutely worth checking out. If you're listening to the podcast version, feel free to go watch that and then come back to the podcast and see what you've been, see what you think compared to what we think. Roddy Online asks, how long have they been running? I believe Generations is the third show for Aus Pro Wrestling. So
the third show in about 9 months. I think it was September last year they launched. So still a very new company who were putting on a show of this quality. It's great to see.
Absolutely. And you can see the improvements that are being made show to show here with Aus Pro. Even mentioned on commentary by Andy himself that Generations is the first show at night, so they've got their lighting rig in finally, So seeing this company so quickly go from really the absolute baby steps at the start all the way through to an absolute pace they have built up, already show 3, some absolutely cracking stuff here. So let's get into it. First match on the card, the Prince Shen up against Zhang Wen. And Zhang Wen is a big, muscly boy. I think having Wen and Shen and Zhan all, as the names here could get a little bit confusing in some moments. But, man, when you're looking at Zhang Wen, you see a big, beefy guy who is going to do some big, hard-hitting moves, and I like that. I like kicking off a show with something that's hard-hitting like this. And look, Shen was in all the right places at the right times, but this was a chance to show off how shiny Zhang Wen is as a big new toy for Aus Pro Wrestling. Jamie, how did you like this opener?
Yeah, I thought it was a nice, solid opener. Like to say that Wen is very impressive physically, Shen's not bad either. They're both well-built, ripped boys. I was like,
very true.
These are solid guys to kick off a show, and you look at it and go, oh, this is a proper show. This isn't just like pulling random guys off the street, chucking them in a ring.
Yeah. Absolutely. Geoff?
I like this a lot. I spent most of the match counting abdominal muscles, and I lost count after 10 because I ran out of fingers. No, it was great. And it's just pursuant to what Jamie was saying about them both being in such good shape. Zhang Wen has improved quite considerably, and he's doing so in front of us. And I always like to see that, especially with a federation that pitches itself as being, kind of the newer guy, kind of giving them a bit of a run. Shen, although, as you said, Lachlan, and put so eloquently, he was in the right spots at the right time. And he held his end up really, really nicely. I like this a lot as an opener. And I think that both of these guys have a big future. And well done on commentary for being able to say Wen and Shen in quick succession, which is actually harder than most people would think in a commentary.
Absolutely. And I mean, you've got Lord Andy there, like talk about a deft hand on the commentary booth. The man knows what he's talking about.
But also, like, Andy's done that to himself. He booked the match. He booked the show.
Very true.
He's done that shit to himself.
But well done, Andy.
Todd, what did you think of the match?
Yeah, good. 2 young guys. It's weird when you've got someone, I guess, on both sides, as inexperienced as they both are, not having like a veteran on one side opposing the guy to sort of guide them through. So they were just like 2, I don't want to say green, but 2 green guys sort of working it out together. And it actually worked quite well. I don't know who, maybe they had like DCT like helping them like plan the match or something like that, but they did really well with that. Like whoever they had, if they had someone helping them, whoever they had helping them, they did a really good job with the guys that they've got there, because they are two relatively inexperienced workers. So very good for a nice little opener to really like kick the show off.
I do think they had them in the opener for that reason. They didn't have to do anything too outlandish, too crazy. It was kept nice and simple, straightforward. Go out there, look solid, and perform well.
Yeah.
I do know that Zhang Wen has been around for a little while longer than it may seem. I remember seeing him for the first time in 2018. So he's been around for a little while, but he is getting to that point now where he's starting to be on these bigger shows more consistently.
Yeah.
And,
see, the thing is, though, like, and we've said it before, like, green isn't a measurement of time. It's a measurement of experience. And, like, John hasn't been on a hell of a lot of shows.
No, and you can see that,
I say that.
Definitely in the last, I would say, year or so, you've definitely seen a lot more of him in those more high-profile spots. So I think that's good, to see him building that experience in those spots. Moving on, a women's match to keep the show going. Aisha managing to get the win over Tessa Armstrong in a match that confused me a little bit as far as face heel stuff. And I can see some nods around the screen already. Tessa naturally plays the heel. You've got an interstate Hoss coming in who typically plays heel against Aisha, who is just one of the best heel wrestlers in the country. Like, definitely among women, one of the most consistent heels that there is going. And playing that character, first class Aisha, it's not a different Aisha. So there was the question mark in my head of who are the fans supposed to be cheering. It seems like the answer was Aisha, but it also seems like there wasn't a lot of indication to the crowd of, hey, this is the good guy here. She was still doing the thing where, she gets the ref to help her down off the top rope at the start of the match and those kinds of things. With that said, I found the actual back and forth of the match to be quite entertaining. I really like Tessa being able to work Hoss, and it's a great style for her, but sometimes she does run into these situations where for a Hoss, she is not that, tall or physically huge. So when you've got someone like Aisha, who is really quite small, it gives Tessa the chance to look mean, right? And I really liked that, and she really got that across here. I thought Aisha looked, cheeky and clever, getting the win by having the feet on the rope. In ring, I liked what this match was doing. I just wish that the dynamic between, fan favorite and, jerk was a bit clearer. Todd, you agree?
Yeah. The problem is the hardest thing to do with that is like heel, face. Either way, you're splitting the crowd. So the crowd have to make that decision. And as I was watching it, I was just like, this is what I don't get when I understand Andy obviously wanted to get these two girls on the show, but didn't really want to do like a tag match or two separate like female matches. So this is the match that he put on. But you're essentially asking the crowd to make the decision of who the babyface is and who the heel is. When really, as much as we say we go off crowd reaction, we should also be determining what that crowd reaction should be. If you know what I mean. Like, we should be guiding them towards what the crowd reaction should be. So, like, if it was going to be the fact that, like, I straight up would have said, look, Aisha, you're going to have to go a little bit babyface tonight. So, maybe just dial back the first class and be more of the babyface. Because this is Tessa. She's kind of dyed-in-the-wool heel. And she's not from around here. So you've also got that backing of, you're from Victoria.
Yeah.
So you've got that built-in, like, the crowd also go, well, she's from here. So I'd rather go for someone from here than from someone that lives in Queensland.
Roddy asked a good question here and says, is it like a wrestling fan type crowd or locals in for entertainment? I feel like it maybe leans to the latter, which I guess means that you need to work harder in really quickly identifying, hey guys, this is the good guy, this is the bad guy.
And the thing about this, and it's a great model, but it's very much for families and younger kids particularly. And there are, like the show I went to, which was their last one, there were a lot of kids, a lot of young kids, which is great, but they need to see a heel and a face. They don't, like, this would have just, like, if I was 7 sitting in that crowd, I'd have had no idea what was going on.
See, the action between the ropes was great. It was fine. It was really good. It was
fantastic.
Like Aisha is one of the better workers in the country, and Tessa comes along every match, like with every match she has, comes along with leaps and bounds. So she gets better, like, with every bit of experience she gets. So like that part wasn't the issue, but it's just like, it's hard. You're constantly, I feel like for matches that I've been involved in, it constantly feels like you're battling uphill when you've got that because you haven't also got that inbuilt thing as like, okay, well, the crowd's going to instantly hate us because that guy's a fucking, they love Brooksy, or they love, you know what I mean? They're going to hate us. This is going to be great. Easy story for us to tell.
Yeah.
Where in other things is like, it's just hard. So they did really well to get over what they get over. The finish, like the crowd reacted to the finish the way they were, because they weren't sure if they should cheer or should boo. Like, she cheated, but yet we still kind of like her. So I don't know. Do you know what I mean? So it was just like, that's what I mean when I say that they were sort of like handicapped from the start. So it was a good match. It was just, yeah, it had challenges.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Jamie?
I read the same thing. Like, yeah, there was just no clear delineation of who do we cheer, who do we boo here. And even Aisha didn't really help that. If she was supposed to be the face, she was like cheating to win, rubbing Tessa's face on the ropes and all of that sort of dirty heel tactics. I get the sense that maybe they're looking to turn Tessa face in Aus Pro, because like she's been on a losing streak since coming in, and like both times it's been a kind of a rough, like a cheating loss. It's not a clean, she's just been absolutely destroyed and lost. So I get the sense that Andy is looking to maybe build her up as the next face of their women's division.
Which I don't hate, but it's definitely not Tessa's style, right? She definitely works a style that is hossy and mean, and she's got that look and vibe about her.
Yeah, she's meant to be a monster, which they got that across, but then if she's trying to be a face, why are you making her a monster at the same time?
Geoff?
Thank you. Here's my brief thought. The month before, Aisha came out and was a face. Like, she wrestled her first match as a face in the company and turned heel later that night. They could have somehow put that off. If they'd have put that off, there would have been a clear face and a clear heel, and it would have been the match was fantastic in ring. Like, all four of us have kind of said that, but it would have made the crowd a lot more invested in some ways, and certainly more vocal, I think, because you're all right. The ending was a nice piece of work, but the crowd were sort of half booing, half cheering, not sure what to do. So yeah, I would have liked just a little bit more of a delay on the heel turn, and you're home.
That's like something else that I noticed. Like with this show, they have the stage for the entrance that has stairs on either side. I would love to see them like maybe do a sort of like impact zone face heel tunnel type thing, just to give the crowd that visual indication of if they come out of this side and come down these stairs, that's who we're cheering for. If they come down this side, we're booing these guys. And like then the match wouldn't have been so bad, because you would have had that clear delineation of, oh, that's the good guy.
And also maybe just butt the ring right up against the stage.
I was going to say that as well.
Yep.
Yeah, the fact that you can see, I think it was Jake Taylor in the next match, makes like a little jump to get to the stage, and it's like, to get to the ring from the stage, and it's like, it would be really clean if all the wrestlers were just getting straight in that way, but everyone kind of has to come down. Maddie Huss also says, don't forget there's another female star on the roster who plays a part in these character dynamics, and then puts some little emojis there, Maddie. But yeah, I think that this is also not the only match that I think had some interesting heel face stuff going on, which we'll touch on a bit later when we get to what Breakfast and Gore are doing. But yeah, I think that definitely in this match, it stood out the most because there wasn't other story stuff going on. So the story in the match really was who is going to win, the person who's a bully or the person who's cheating. And I don't know how to like invest in that, you know? So, but again, like really impressed with what happened in ring. Moving on to what ended up in an absolute brawl, Jake Taylor and Sid Parker ending in a no contest after the two just keep beating on each other. push each other into the referee, continue fighting long after the bell. As we mentioned before, a former wrestler who is, behind the scenes and getting involved in the form of DCT as one of the people helping split this fight up, ended up getting a miss to the face from Sid Parker, as well as taking that Sister Abigail style finisher. I think I like these two matched up. I think they're both guys who will just go out there and absolutely send it every time. And a continuing feud between them based on the idea of these guys just want to beat the piss out of each other feels true to their characters, which I like. DCT being involved, I think, is really interesting. I'm not sure how that's going to continue going forward. I assume he's going to then be, against Sid Parker, but not necessarily allied with Jake Taylor. So that'll be interesting. What did you think of the actual match and the beatdown, Geoff?
I liked it. There was so much there to like. This is not meant to... You can really see that these guys are pros. You can really see that these guys have had a fair bit of experience. Jake specifically trained in Japan. Sid, of course, is a well-traveled veteran, been around for a lot of years and always entertains. I really, really like this. I also like the bit of business afterwards because, DCT can definitely go in the ring. He's a former ICW heavyweight champion. So, if it winds up being those three guys in a match together, I'm going to enjoy that. Don't know if you're listening, Andy. But I really, really liked this. Also for it's the kind of dynamic between the two. Taylor acted as such a good ground for Sid's high-flying and science-based antics. It was just great. I really enjoyed it. Taylor plays such a good, smarmy, no bullshit heel. He's kind of that heel. He's that heel that can back it up, and is also an arrogant fuck. So it's I enjoy Jake so much, and I thought this was terrific.
And Jake really does a good job of writing that line of still being entertaining and funny, but in a way that you're like, yeah, that was funny, you prick. Go screw yourself. Right? Todd, what did you think of this one?
Well, let Jamie go first because I've got...
Sorry, yeah, I steamrolled right over in there. Sorry, Jamie.
Yeah, the comedy touches was the thing that really stood out to me of it creates such a fun dynamic from Jake where you do want to hate him, but doing the Jurassic Park song, I'm like, this is hilarious, and I want to cheer you, but I also know I'm not supposed to be cheering you.
I like that. The Jurassic Park bit was hilarious. Yeah. For those listening to the podcast, Lachlan just did dinosaur hands.
Yeah, just mimed a dinosaur. I liked the match. I felt like there was no real escalation into that end. There was no real... I just felt like they were sort of like having a match and all of a sudden it's just this is the spot where we have to start going over the top all of a sudden. So there was no real like that build to we're going to just start brawling. It was just sort of match, brawling. And then the finish. And I know that they can't really do much about it because and maybe he's a part of it. So like you guys have all said, maybe he's going to be involved. It'll be a three-way, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of this match, I didn't want to see Jake Taylor and Sid Parker again. I wanted to see Sid Parker and DCT. You know what I mean? Because he attacked DCT and he sprayed him in the face with the mist. There's two things and he's basically playing the babyface in the role as well.
Yeah, he's the good guy here. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm well, is he the babyface though? Because he just attacked the official. It wasn't enough that he accidentally sprayed him in the face. He then put a move on the guy. So
yeah, you almost needed Jake to be the one to hit him with the move afterwards. Yeah, I didn't need your help.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it it left me wanting to see that match more than wanting to see Jake and Sid again.
Yeah,
and I don't know if that was the point, and I don't know if it's like somehow they're going to work into it. But the next show, something else happens, and DCT's dragged into it again, and ends up being like maybe he's a special guest referee or something like that down the line. I don't know, but really, like finishing that match, I'm just like, I want to see DCT and Sid now. Yeah. I wanted to see a backstage vignette where Sid, like DCT, gets in Sid's face, going, "What the fuck was that?" You know what I mean? So, yeah, and I don't know if that was the plan, and I guess we'll find out in like pursuing shows if that was a plan or not. It was just left me a little bit confused as to what I wanted to see in the next show.
Yeah, I fully get what you're saying, but look, I mean, that creates interest as to exactly what happens long term, right? And if you want to see Sid and DCT, knowing that there's unfinished business between Sid and Jake kind of gives us more opportunities to boil that and get people going, I really need to see that match.
There's also, I mean, we've also seen from Aus Pro Wrestling that they're not afraid to sow seeds of something and then push people away for a show. So, yes, I want to see Jake against Sid again, but I don't mind waiting 2 or 3 shows to get that because what they're doing is quite interesting.
Yeah, fully agree.
When it's not a live show, they could have added something in post, like Todd's saying, of just like, here's like a backstage promo quickly between one of these other matches just to sort of tie that up a little bit and give you a bit more clarity on where we're headed with this instead of it being kind of so up in the air.
Yeah.
Bob Vance has made a good point here. He said, I love that Sid has become an it guy in local wrestling. It's such an interesting case of personal growth and maturity. It's cool to see the end result. Yeah, Sid can go. He's a very entertaining wrestler. And I mean, I see him a fair bit. I really liked his recent work in Mayhem as well as Aaron. I thought that was really fascinating.
Yeah, and Nick Galea says live, it kind of felt like it was to make Jake look like the Weasel, and DCT got caught in the middle of Sid being a madman.
Yeah, nice point.
Yeah.
It just, maybe that's me being like Lachlan-esque and looking too far into it. But like, I just wanted to see they're the 2 guys I wanted to see fight in the next show, not so much Jake. I feel like Jake got away with one.
Yeah, very true. I'm so glad that's what Lachlan-esque is. It could be something so much worse.
Maybe because they're introducing the title, they're like trying to slide Jake away from it for a moment just to put him in like a tournament or something for the title in the next show.
Yeah. And you didn't say to me. So, you know,
that's right. Nicolia says, to be fair, I just want to see DCT wrestle again, full stop.
Motion carried. All right.
So moving on with this to, honestly, something I really enjoyed and yet still one of the bigger problems that I had with this show, which is Bush Kelly and Ryan Rapid up against Breakfast and Gore. So what we've got going on here is Ryan Rapid managing to get a win over Gore for the second time in a row because Gore is family-friendly Gore, and he's teaming with the Breakfast half of Ben and Breakfast because Ben is missing, inverted commas, Ben is missing, and Gore's helping Breakfast find Ben, but also Gore is struggling to remain family-friendly Gore, and he keeps trying to cheat, but Breakfast doesn't want to become a bad guy, and so, like, when the wrong thing is happening, he's still trying to be on the right side of it, and it just feels like maybe, for me, there's maybe one too many hats on this. I like everything that's happening, and I wish that it was just a tiny bit simpler, right? I think Bush Kelly and Ryan Rapid were both phenomenal in their roles. I think Breakfast is so funny in what he was doing here. I think Gore is obviously so skilled at everything he's doing, and he's nailing it all. But it's just, I don't know. I feel like there's maybe one too many story beats to be following for this to flow, because it kind of feels like it's fun and it's silly, and so it could be barely anything and I would still enjoy it. So the fact that we're layering these 8 layers or so of story onto it gets a bit overwhelming for something that I want to be the popcorn match of the show. Jamie, what do you think of that?
Yeah, I kind of agree. Like, is this a Gore Ryan Rapid story, or is it a Gore Ben and Breakfast story where but now they've merged? So, it was a little bit confusing. I did like the thing that I liked the most was the Gore Ryan Rapid stuff. I want to see more of that stuff because I know how good those two in a singles match with some sort of high stakes, like potentially a title and stuff like that on the line would be. But yeah, they got this weird, intriguing abduction, possibly Gore abducting people.
Yeah,
well,
in the background to, feed the evil Gore to keep it suppressed so he can be family-friendly Gore or whatever's happening. Nick Galea said the whole thing of Gore physically manipulating Breakfast like a marionette to cheat is genuinely funny. It feels like something out of a Jackie Chan movie. That's exactly what I mean. Like, that's so much fun that you almost don't need any storyline other than Gore is Gore and he's trying to be family friendly, but he can't stop cheating and Breakfast doesn't want to. So he's just, using his hand to slap the guy. Like, that would almost be enough for me. I think it's really fun. Geoff, what are you thinking of the family friendly Gore situation?
Family-friendly Gore in isolation. And notice we're just calling him family-friendly Gore. We're accepting the trope, and it's hilarious and brilliant. That would be enough by itself for now. I love that they're using Rapid. Like, you guys all know, I'm a big fan of Ryan Rapid. Absolutely the future of wrestling here in Melbourne for as long as he wants to be. He's just tremendous. And I think that family-friendly Gore and Breakfast, as you guys have all said, not yourself yet, Todd, would be sufficient as a storyline. Or Rapid beating this, for some reason, family-friendly Gore. But, maybe get him someone to turn him family-friendly. Rapid beating him twice and Gore getting increasingly frustrated, really good as well. But there's too many layers. There's too much going on right now in isolation. There's bits and pieces in others, but this is like you just shoving so much at us, and it's a shame. I think if they pare it back a little and let it grow a bit, like let Breakfast and Gore team a bit and get to do that, then you can introduce the Rapid stuff because you've embedded things a little bit more.
Yeah, you've got like a year's worth of stories played out in 2 shows.
Yeah,
absolutely. Nicolia says
also the intermission of Gore and Breakfast looking for Ben is something they should have filmed. Most wrestling comedy is as funny as a fart in a lift. This is actually funny. Yeah, that and your good mate the Clydesdale, Nick.
And Todd, what did you reckon of the Breakfast and Gore, etc.?
I kind of feel like they retconned the Gore, the family-friendly Gore character from the first show. Because you remember the first show, he just snapped and went back to being Gore, and that was it. At the end of the show, he was done. And all of a sudden, they're just gone, oh, hang on. No, we're going to retcon this, and like we'll have him constantly struggling, but being more in control of the family-friendly side. So, like, the show's, the match was fun. And, like, man,
the match was good.
When Breakfast takes that shirt off, he just looks like an egg.
He does.
He's just shaped like an egg, that dude. Nothing against him. He's great. He's a fine worker and all that. It just made me laugh when I saw it. I'm like, wow. Okay.
And that's like, he uses it to his advantage perfectly. Like, the straps come down at exactly the right moment where you go, there's a body shape on that man. Like, it's so, like, well played. I really enjoy it. Matty Huss in the chat.
Yeah, well, go ahead, Locke. Sorry, mate.
Yeah, Matt in the chat letting us know there's more in the can of Gore and Breakfast to be released too, and it's hilarious. And Nick Galea agrees, saying, I think they ran with it just because the families and kids just loved it. And that's what we said when we watched the first show, was that we really liked the idea of family-friendly Gore, and we were worried that they had, pulled the trigger too early, and it seems like they have reloaded it. So happy with that.
Well, to be fair, his lordship said to me after the show, he said there's more in the can for Gore. Like family-friendly Gore is not going. But we just, I think they wanted to reinforce Gore's character in its natural environment before reverting back to some family-friendly Gore stuff.
And I guess one thing that we kind of didn't take into account is, like we said before, if this is mainly locals coming to these shows and not necessarily wrestling fans, if they don't know who Gore is, then the family-friendly Gore thing doesn't make any sense because it's not a subversion of anything. They don't know who Gore is for it to be subverted, for him to be family-friendly. I mean, he is called Gore.
I was going to say, he's called Gore, and he's got that face mask. Like a murderer. If you don't know who he is, then you probably have to wear a helmet to school.
Yeah. So, there's also Andy from Bob Backlund Fridges says a lot of promotions came into existence where the promoter has one really clear muse. In Aus Pro's case, Lord Andy's muse appears to be Gore, which could be fascinating forever. I do think that's one of the two people that Lord Andy is kind of seeing as the people that he loves building a promotion around, and we'll talk about the other in the main event. But yeah, any time that, and Gore is so funny, right? Like, obviously from working with crackers for a long time, he understands what it means to be funny in the ring, while also being like a hideous, violent bastard who looks like he's going to kill people. And even getting that balance,
throwing things out to the kids, and he's throwing out fish stock.
Yeah, and pegging it to the back of the room. Like, just those little touches of Breakfast is handing out the juice boxes and he is pegging things as far as they'll go. Like, those are the little touches where you go, oh, I understand what this character is. Right? So, like, that's good stuff.
And I can't... we had Crackers and Gore on as a tag team for a show. For WrestleMania. And Crackers is like next level, really funny guy. You can't have Crackers on the show and not be laughing. Really funny. But Gore is so funny as well. And everything Gore did was, as much as Crackers overplays thing, Gore just flies under the radar with some really nice physical comedy. He's such a funny guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving on here, it's kind of a matchup that almost pits past versus present or past versus future and sees Emmanuel taking on JJ Furno. Furno's one of those guys who is right at the apex of becoming one of those standard bearers in Victorian wrestling. And Emmanuel, it feels like Aus Pro is the place that he is returning. And so this back and forth really let Emmanuel show that he can still go with the young fellas. Todd, what did you think of this matchup?
I loved it. Like, I was watching it going, like, it's a shame that I only get to see Emmanuel on these shows. So, and it really did. It's one of those ones where when I look at the roster as a whole at Aus Pro, I'm like, they really kind of need a championship now. Because you've got like 3 or 4 guys that I could really see like competing for a championship on that show, and they'd be an absolute banger. I mean, off the top of my head, you put Stedman, Furno, Emmanuel, Rapid in like a 4-man tournament for the first champion. And that you're going to have like banger matches out of that. They're just like such a good crop of like young guys, and also guys with like Emmanuel and Furno are really experienced. Well, so I suppose same as like Rapid, really. But if you really wanted guys that you could showcase at Aus Pro that aren't getting showcased anywhere else, you've got Emmanuel, JJ to an extent, and now Stedman for those 3 guys that are... They're not really like the focal point of any other promotions. So you could really like hang your hat on the fact that these are the guys that are front that are our guys. These are Aus Pro Wrestling guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And like this match really did show that to me. Like this is a match for the on the card, and I don't know if it led into intermission or not, but if I was booking the show, I probably would have, because I would have just let them go ape shit, and you guys are leading me into intermission. Make these fans want to come back in 15 minutes and watch the rest of this show. So I really enjoyed it, and I think Emmanuel on top is a good move. You keep him strong. You keep him sort of undefeated in Aus Pro until you have him have a big, and I mean big in quotations, match. So yeah, really enjoyed it.
Geoff?
Absolutely agree, Todd. Couldn't agree more. Emmanuel looks incredible. Like the guy has come back cut. He looks fantastic. I like the story that commentary started telling here. I like the story that it's kind of like, you know, he was an asshole and he still has slight asshole tendencies. And you see that in brief moments. And Emmanuel is playing that out beautifully. I mean, yeah, what? You can't say enough good things about JJ Furno. He is just tremendous. So good. Nick's mentioned that Rapid Fire are basically the faces of PCW as a tag team now. And they are a great tag team. But, geez, like watching Rapid and Furno as singles is also tremendous. There's so much to like here. These guys just going out there and having a banger of a match. It kind of kept you going. It kind of makes you go, oh, this is great. This one was for the real. This and the main were for the real wrestling purists, you know. But what a great match! What a beautiful story behind it too. Loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Jamie?
Yeah, this one was my favorite match of the show. I thought they did a brilliant job of getting those two guys over in different ways. Like Geoff said, Body Biz has changed the game in Australian wrestling with these two. They both look incredible.
I think Emmanuel was kind of like that before Body Biz, though. He was one that came back because there was a while there, and not to pull the curtain back, but I know that he'd put on a lot of weight, and he'd really, like, in his comeback has really like got himself in some really good fucking shape now. Probably better than what he was on his first run.
Well, last time I saw him, from memory, and this is memory, he was wearing a t-shirt when he wrestled.
Yeah.
So,
because I remember seeing photos of him, and this is while he was on his break from wrestling. I was like, it's like, whoa, he really has been enjoying his break. But like, come back and just look. Nothing wrong with it. It's like shit.
There's no body shaming in that. So please, if anyone like Todd's not trying to body shame, he's just stating a fact.
Yeah,
like,
I just think like
I'm throwing bricks in a glass house if I'm saying that. So,
mate, I've seen the workout photos. You're looking good. You're back into it.
Nah, mate, I'm built like a melted candle. It's fine.
Yeah, I just think like Body Biz, like it's just changed the perception. Like everybody knows I can't come back and just be like, I'm just doing this on the weekends. It's okay. Yeah. Everybody's looking at straight wrestling like, oh crap, I have to look good.
Yeah, the days of the t-shirt guys are on the way out. So I think you'll find the t-shirt guys are just the guys that aren't in those unfortunate shows that we don't really talk about.
Yep. And yeah, I just loved how technical this one was too. Like that's one of the things I've noted about the show overall. Every match felt different in its own way. Like it was a very rapid fire show of just like match after match after match after match. But they did a good job of contrasting every single match. And this one was the kind of the real technical showcase of in ring. These guys know every precise movement that they're making.
Andy in the chat saying that there's a thing in sport where absence can enhance your reputation. And in Furno's case, he genuinely became 1,000,000 times better. It's wild. I love what Furno is doing. I thought that this was a really good match. I'm looking for an... Sorry, I was just going to say...
Good.
Yeah.
Go. You go.
Sorry, I was going to say, I'm still personally looking for an emotional connection to Emmanuel. I don't have it yet. So this was a good match technically, and I enjoyed watching it. It didn't electrify me, and I think it's just that Emmanuel, to me, looks like generic wrestler number 4 a little bit. And that's a good thing. but I hope that I do build that connection. You know, Todd, you were saying?
Like JJ has always been like a million times better. He just never really spread his wings. He was quite comfortable in that PCW world, which a lot of guys were, because I think when I talked to Rapid not too long ago, it was that thing of like they were kind of afraid to jump out of that world because they didn't quite see what was going to happen. They were kind of worried about what might happen to them. And I think that was kind of the case with Furno. And then when he decided he was going to go, that's when he got injured, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was about to say that.
He's always been good.
I think he had an MCW dark match when he, like, just after he got injured. So they were certainly siphoning through some of the PCW guys. This is before or just as JXT started putting the Mayhem people there. So it's great to see him back, and I think that he's just stepped right up.
And Nick Galea accurately pointing out that PCW used to be a fed that ran weekly, so a lot of guys felt like they got their fill.
And was there kind of a time where it was you were either an MCW guy or a PCW guy as well? There wasn't much crossover until sort of, I think maybe
from
Indie
what I
was like the first
from what
one
I could
that really
understood, from what I understood, it was kind of, and I could be wrong here, it was kind of the fact that like if you were in PCW and you stepped out and worked somewhere else, you might not get booked again at PCW.
Yeah,
this is years ago. It's not like it was today. Like the people that kind of broke that mold were like the Philippe's and Indy.
Yeah. Indy was like
the ones that
for me that like jumped across.
Yeah, they were the ones that jumped, but then got to come back. It was kind of like if you left, then you left.
Yep.
So, but that was what wrestling was like. That many, like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 7 years ago.
Yeah.
That's what it was like. Like if you left and you went and worked somewhere else, you're working somewhere else, mate. We're going to focus on the people that want to stay here, which is really, that's an old mindset.
Like that, I remember that here. It was like, oh, if you're with this company, you're with this company. And it's the growth that you see from people when they've worked in more companies has been great. And we're seeing more and more companies work together more, and you're seeing better results for everybody. So anyway, yes, glad to see that the PCW guys like JJ are out here getting these, and, you know, like Ryan Rapid as well, are getting these big opportunities. Nick Galea says there was some crossover between PCW and other feds. PCW guys were in the MCW Fusion tournament during pandemic era shows. And Andy says, I think I heard that PCW has formally changed owners. So that's obviously a positive. So that has...
But that wasn't even like I'm talking pre-pandemic. Pre-pandemic.
Yeah, I mean, they were...
Indy was early.
When I say Indy was the first one to sort of break out, that's how long ago it was.
Indy and the Philippe's.
So you're talking maybe 8-10 years ago.
Yeah, Philippe's for 2017. Indy was 2018. There you go.
Yeah.
So
that's what I mean. Like that far ago. I'm not talking like 2020. I'm not talking like recently. I'm talking back in the teens. So but that's what wrestling was like. Like, I hate to say it, but that's what wrestling was like everywhere. There weren't really journeymen as such, and if it was, it was like you'd work. If you worked other promotions, it'd be promotions in other states.
Yeah. Well, even PWA was like that. It was you were a PWA guy, or you were the other random promotions around PWA, and now they're just like, I just work everywhere, and get as much experience as you can.
And it's not entirely. It's not entirely done with. Like, we're still seeing a little bit of territorialism.
But that's the thing, you're never going to get that out of, because some promoters are just going to be territorial, and some promoters don't think past their own nose, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I think you see largely the big promotions being the leaders of the charge there. You look at, EPW and the way that, the other WA promotions have been a little bit subsumed, but you go over to Adelaide and you look at the way that Riot City and Wrestle Rampage are working together at the moment. Like, those are the kind of things that really show that it can work. Companies that it would have been red versus blue at one point, or green versus red, white, and black, or whatever it was.
I remember when I was in Adelaide, so this is probably nearly 10 years ago now. Chris Basso and I went and did a show. Like, we had Damian Slater come over and do a show against us, and then we went over to Wrestle Rampage and did a show against him. And back then, that was one of the biggest stories in, like, Adelaide and South Australian wrestling, because like those, like, it was like Ghostbusters. You don't cross the streams never crossed. Mm-hmm. And then like that, then there was nothing for a while, and then all of a sudden Jonah Rock showed up at a Riot City show, and it was and again, holy shit, this doesn't happen. Some ways it's kind of cool, but it doesn't help in the overall growth of the industry.
Yeah.
I think it's good for your like top main event guys. Like, have those guys that are established, they know who they are, they've got their characters down. Of that's an MCW guy and that's a PCW guy and stuff like that. But the guys coming up that just need reps, who cares where they work? Let them work everywhere. Otherwise, they're never going to get to your Brooksy levels.
As long as it's a reputable company who look after their workers, there shouldn't be a problem with it.
Yeah, exactly.
There's nothing but reputable companies in Australia. Anyway.
Well, let's move on. The Pursuit, the team of Hector Jones, Ricky DeBoom, and Rory Holmes managed to get a win over the Canby collection. That's Fat Cat Canby, Jackson Atlas, and Paul Fury. The story here is that Fat Cat Canby is payrolling his own little team in the form of Jackson Atlas and Paul Fury. Meanwhile, the Pursuit are badass shit kickers. And Paul Fury was the babyface in peril for this whole match, desperately trying to get that tag, managed to eventually get that hot tag to Jackson Atlas, the absolute, hot tag, classic style, Canby collection, a cleaning house, and then Fat Cat Canby tags himself in and gets beat solidly by the Pursuit. I'll start with Jamie. What did you think of this 6-man tag action?
It was fun. I do have a couple of notes for Jackson, though. He moves so fast, very impressive in how quick he gets around the ring. But if you're going to wrestle in a shirt, at least get yourself some merch. Like, sell some shirts in the process. But yeah, I loved how they established the Pursuit as, like you said, shit kickers. They are a great new faction on the scene of, I don't want to mess with these guys because they're just going to hurt me.
Yep, that's it. Geoff?
The Pursuit are, of course, named as a acknowledgement of Carlo Cannon's training facility, Vicious Pursuit. So that is why they are called the Pursuit specifically. I think there's so much joy in Fat Cat Canby at the moment. I don't like the name, but I see so much joy in Canby's character at Aus Pro. Really, really fun. And I like Paul Fury as a babyface in trouble. I liked his work in just looking pained and looking
Jackson Atlas.
And Atlas was fantastic. And I think that these three guys as a trio can add a lot to the Aus Pro Wrestling roster. So I'm pretty happy with the idea of them continuing. And the Pursuit, just don't kick the shit out of me. And Ricky D. Boom has to be one of the greatest wrestling names in history. Ricky Da Boom. Love it. Love it. I don't know about that only because he's supposed to be a shit-kicking heel, and you can't help but smile whenever you hear Ricky Da Boom. It just, it's one of those weird things. But, I enjoyed this for the silliness that it was.
Yeah, Todd?
I don't understand why Jackson's got face paint on.
Yep.
Like, have a nickname or something. If you're going to wear face paint, have some sort of a nickname that delineates why you're wearing that. I think Paul Fury there's a lot of potential in him. I know I think he's one of the Mayhem kids, isn't he?
I believe that's true.
But he probably
I know he's been on Mayhem shows. I think he was on the Rumble I've seen him Rumble a couple of times.
We were very high on him last time we saw him.
There we go, yeah. So, and like, I think he had family there because he had a hell of a reaction when he was out there. I love the Pursuit. I think they're amazing. Like, I'm a big heel guy because I know what a heel can do to help build, like, your next baby face. And I think those three really have something. If I was fantasy booking, I would be having the pursuit with a leader, and that leader would be Emmanuel.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's great.
He's a pursuit guy as well.
Yeah, he's one of Carlo's guys. That's
And
right.
why wouldn't he have those three guys like killers as backup for him? I think that would be so good. It was such a good heel faction that could really dominate that company, and have someone like an Owen Stedman have to battle through Hector, Ricky, Rory just to get to Emmanuel. That to me, that's a whole year's booking. I can see like right in front of me that is easy to do and tell one hell of a good story, I think.
Especially
I'm
with
so very high on that.
Emmanuel's story of, I'm not a bad guy anymore. So,
yeah,
okay, I'm not a bad guy, but these guys can be my bad guys.
Yeah, I don't want to be a bad guy, so I have
I'm not
these
gonna
people
hurt
to
you,
do
but
that
they
for
will.
me. Yeah, exactly. I think there's so much upside in that. I think so much upside. And I really enjoyed this match because the way they planned it to accentuate everyone in the way that they wanted it to be and establish them. Because I believe this was the first time the Pursuit had been on something together. And they already looked like a well-established team when they walked out. Like, I think they even had matching gear, if I'm not mistaken. So they're obviously putting something. But it was like black and white or black and gold. They actually had like a uniformed color, which is great, I think. Yeah. So I really, really enjoyed it. I think it was a really good platform to build 6 of these guys, but in particular the Pursuit as a force in Aus Pro.
I agree, but I also really liked, like I spoke about, I think when we were watching Paul Fury, I had a look. It might have been from the Relentless Rumble 3, I think was the time where we saw him and were like, oh, that guy's got it. And as, you know, we've heard in the chat from Matty Hutt, Paul is a Mayhem lad and has had good showings in scramble matches, including the recent Kolak show, which I believe we'll be checking out very soon. So keep an eye out for that. But I was really impressed by that side of the team. Especially, I like Jackson Atlas's facials and the selling of him getting beaten down and desperately trying to get that tag. I think that he was a great babyface in peril. I thought that this was a lot of fun and was really impressed by it. Penultimate match. Sorry, Jamie, go on.
On Jackson selling, though, just before he got the hot tag, he was like banging the mat, like getting the crowd fired up. Like it's a 6-man. There's like, wouldn't we let Camby do that and you continue to sell that you've just been destroyed by the Pursuit guys?
It's kind of hard though if they don't. Maybe you could see that they were. Maybe he could see that they weren't. He's like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, like he needed Camby to like get down and like just bang the apron and get the crowd going, so that he could like continue to sell and work his way to the corner instead of banging the mat. And I was like, well, you were just dead and now you're really excited.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Grossi's just asked if this is live or pre-recorded. Grossi, it's pre-recorded.
Pre-recorded. Yeah, we did.
Yeah,
we recorded this last week. All right, sorry, keep going.
But the thing I was going to say is I always imagine it as, you know, that is the burst of adrenaline that they're getting, and they're, you know, the energy's flowing through, but the pain is in their body, so trying to get up and they're feeling it and they're banging the mat. I can get past that, but I did also notice it as he is banging the mat a lot for someone who just got absolutely bollocksed, right?
Yep.
So moving on though, Geoff?
I was going to say I wouldn't have minded if he was like hitting the mat because he's in pain and he's trying to get up, and then the crowd will naturally get behind him.
Like, or hitting it as you're falling, not like laying on your back and just slapping the mat. I was like, oh, that's
no, I agree with you both on that. Anyway, sorry, Locke. That's the third time you're trying to move on.
The penultimate match here, Anth Cava with Lockie doing his ring announcement for Gemstone, managed to get the win over Sam Yanis. I think that Anth Cava having somebody to talk him up goes a long way. Because if you want him to be a cocky heel, that's great. Having somebody give him that big head works a lot. And I think Lockie did a really fun job of that here. I don't know that their characters match up exactly. Like, I don't know why that's the guy that is here for Kava. That is a little confusing to me, and I would like a little bit more of a, this is why these two are together. But I think that having Lockie be, you know, the annoying, yappy, Anth Kava is the best guy, so Anth Kava can rock up and go, yeah, I am the best, and then put on that torture rack, I think is fantastic stuff. Sam Yanis was really fun here. I don't know about the wooden spoon in the butthole gimmick. That one, like, I was ready for a smack with the wooden spoon, but then the poke up the bum was a bit strange for me. I'm not sure that one landed.
I think if his nonna was doing that, then we need to call in Child Protective Services.
Yeah, exactly. But overall, I thought this was a fun match, if not groundbreaking. I do think early on it felt like they were maybe half a beat out of step with each other. There was a couple of times where, and it might have just been me, but it looked like, you know, it looked like an Irish whip was going into the corner, but then there was an adjustment and it went to the outside of the ring instead. Or like, you know, Yanis was going up for a tilt-a-whirl, but went up like a little bit early. And so Kava caught him like sideways, and it just looked a little bit strange to my eye, but I just could have been totally wrong about that. But it also was only at the start of the match that I was noticing that. So if that was the case, they did a great job of getting in sync throughout the match. Todd, what did you think of this one?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I think Lockie is I believe he's an actual wrestler, isn't he? He plays the artist?
Yeah, he's
a man.
He's trained.
Yeah, really good manager. Really good manager. He possibly, the only person he could manage is like Anth, because he's a big lad himself. So it's hard to be a big dude and managing guys that aren't as big as you. So that fit really well. If I was to have one tiniest little nitpick, is that I think Jem did a great job all the way through the show as a ring announcer. I think she was amazing. Really good with like announcing the match and all that. There was the bit where like Lockie sang Ants to the ring, which was amazing, but she loved it. And she was really excited and really happy for him. She shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah, she should have been hating it.
Exactly. It's like, even if Lockie was like Lachlan up in the top corner, if he was a ring announcer at a show and I was coming to the ring and I was doing my little spiel, even if inside he was popping, he still wouldn't sell that. Yeah, he enjoyed the promo. Because at the end of the day, like, we're still trying to get the crowd to hate these guys, and he's being obnoxious and selling, like, holding that last note for as long as he did. Should have had her rolling her eyes and going, fuck it. Oh, come on. You know what I mean? That sort of, it's little things. But aside from that, I think she did a great job on the show. A great job. And I think Lockie did a really good job. Speaking as a guy who's been managing for a couple of days, he did a really, really good job in selling certain things. I don't know if I would have sold the spoon up the butt, especially when it's kind of their debut together. I don't know if I would have. I maybe would have got him to get close and then had Anth cut him off.
Mm-hmm.
But everything else I think was really well done. Really, especially when you're helping a guy that really doesn't need help. Like Anth can win a match without the help. That's the beauty of it. Like, they're just doing it to do it. But aside from that, I enjoyed the match.
Yeah, absolutely. Geoff?
Yeah, I agree. I agree with your note about Jem. I mean, whenever like someone would come out and snatch the mic, like Heenan would come out and introduce his people, snatching the mic out of Finkel's hand, he always looked so angry. And it was great. Yeah. And it even when Samantha Irving used to commentate and Heyman would come out with the bloodline and he'd just grab the microphone off her, she'd just give him side eyes, like really nice side eye. Good stuff. So I agree with you on that.
a lot of times I say before I'm going to go out, like I'll say to the ring announcers, look, I'm really sorry for what I'm about to do. I don't mean any of this.
Yeah.
So I want it on the record that Todd has never apologized to me beforehand.
No, because you know what's coming.
Yeah, that's true. That's
You're
true.
quite clear.
I'm ready for it. Yeah.
It's such a subtle, like, visual clue to the crowd, especially kids. We gotta hate this guy. Even if he's singing, great. I was actually really impressed with Lockie's singing.
Yes, 100%. I'm just like, he's almost too good.
And that's, as a ring announcer, you've got an awesome connection with the crowd where they just see you as, like, the person showing them the show. So, like, when Todd comes out, one of my favorite things to do is if you can spot a kid in the crowd and just go, they lose their mind. They're like, yeah, that's what I was thinking. Right? So, like, it is so, it just gives it that little bit of oomph.
For those
but, like, I also liked what Lockie was doing.
For those of you listening on the podcast, a couple of minutes ago, Lachlan did the crazy remember, we're doing a podcast. That's live.
I just like talking with my friends about wrestling, Geoff. Come on. Jamie, what did you think of the match?
Hang on,
Sorry to cut you off there, Geoff. Yeah, okay, finish your thought.
But saying that, I did enjoy the match. I did not like the wooden spoon up the butt either. I think that it's a bit unnecessary. It's a bit too hokey. And I get that you want to be a bit family friendly and get the kids giggling, but I think it was just out of place.
He could have just hit him with it.
Yeah.
Just hit him with it.
That's classic.
Yeah.
Kids know what a wooden spoon feels like. Maybe not today.
Well, maybe not
I
nowadays.
I know what a wooden spoon feels like. That's what you had to do.
And Lockie gets to do the big... Lockie gets to do the big sell where he grabs his ass and he, like, jumps back and forth on his legs really high. Like, you get the big sell out of it. The crowd will go wild. Whereas, like, with the spoon up the bum, you end up standing there very still with a wide-eyed expression that doesn't really, like, communicate all that much. And that was the other thing I thought is, if you're sitting directly in front, it's hard to tell exactly what happened.
Yeah.
You want that over the top physicality of the tap on the bum from the wooden spoon because the kids would love that. That's a really, really good point. But the match itself was great. I mean, you've got two fantastic young workers there, and Lockie just adds so much. Like it's actually the second time this character's been on. It's the second time we've seen this version of Cava with Lockie, and the first time I was sitting with Bros and Welchie, and the three of us were absolutely losing our shit. We thought it was the funniest thing we've ever seen. And there is something highly amusing for the adults in this duo, but yet the kids have free reign to absolutely detest Cava and Lockie. And I think that that's going to be such an interesting dynamic moving forward. I mean, ultimately, they are heels and you do boo them. But, geez, that ring entrance is just too damn entertaining.
Here's one of the things that a lot of, like, young, and I mean young in the sport, managers don't get, is that, like, you bumping for someone, that's something that you should save. You should really, like... You should make them earn that. Like, I remember saying to Jimmy C when he first started, because when he first started, I think in his first two matches, I think he took 2 cutters from Nick Armstrong. And I messaged him and said, you might want to stop doing that, bro. He's like, but the crowd really popped. I said, yeah, but they're not going to pop much longer for you doing that. If they're seeing you every show get hit, they're going to be wanting to see you every show get hit. Whereas, like, when I first started at RC Dub, I don't think I took a bump for 9 months. They got close every time. They got very close to me. They grabbed my shirt. They pulled back. They never got to hit me. Until when they did, that's when you cash that in. You cash that what they've been waiting to see you get hit for 9 months, and finally gets hit. That's when you get the big payoff for the babyface from that. From doing very little.
That's why one of my favorite heel managers of late was Vicky Guerrero, because she so rarely got physical, but when she did, it was fucking satisfying, and just a really nice presence. and smart lady. I agree with you, but what I'm saying is, and I think Jamie and Lachlan are in agreement with this. If you're going to do something, the tap on the butt's probably better than a
100%.
A less physical thing.
Yeah.
And Matty Huss mentions the unsung hero of the Cavalocchi act is the Titantron. Hilarious when paired with the singing and posing. Jamie, what did you think of Cava v Yanis?
I very much liked the match as well. I agree. I was very excited to see Lockie pop up on this, and like I said before, his singing was actually really impressive, which is kind of unusual for like a wrestling singer gimmick, where normally you come in like, oh, this is kind of cringy, but like, well, actually he can sing. Cool, this is fun. And it's like
I love the over obnoxious holding of that last note too.
Yeah, it's the perfect kid friendly heel too, because he's singing like old jazz tune style, which kids these days I'm like, oh my god, this is old dad stuff. Get away. Like, we don't like you. We want to see you get hurt, which plays into what Todd said of like, don't let him get hurt. Because it also makes it look like Cava doesn't care about him if he's getting beat up every show.
Yeah.
Whereas if Cava's protecting him, it's like, oh, he's actually helping Cava in a way, and Cava cares that he's not getting hurt. Like, it's the same as if you look at AEW. How often does Don Callis actually get hit by the baby faces?
Yes. Yeah.
It's always the
Bobby Heenan never really took a bump until it was like Hogan got his hands on him.
Yep.
And
then when it happens, you're like, oh,
the Warrior.
Finally, he got it.
Or the Weasel Suit matches, which were, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was the payoff, right? So, like, hold, build the interest. Absolutely agree. So let's move on now to talk about the main event, the PCW National Title. And The Undertaker and Jeff Hardy Tommy Hellfire and Owen Stedman put on a real classic legend versus kid, I want to earn your respect in a title match. And for me, I loved this as a main event. Tommy Hellfire's been doing this for a minute. He knows how to be a main event heel and to wrestle a main event match. Owen Stedman absolutely held up his end of the bargain, being the fiery babyface who was there to fight, who offered the handshake at the start and got rejected, and spent the whole match proving that he was not going to give in for a second. Every time Stedman got knocked down, he got back up. That's what I loved about this match. And Tommy, you could see getting frustrated, getting the why won't this kid quit? You got the red on Owen, getting him busted open. Every move Owen does looks fantastic. I think having Andy Rhodes as a manager who wasn't involved in the match, but was there because he wanted to see Owen do it, was a really good touch. Because immediately, once this was on the card, my brain went, PCW title's not changing hands on an Aus Pro show. Yeah. And then Andy's there in the corner to watch/celebrate. And it gives me that little, hang on, they could do a big moment here. Just maybe. And having that little bit of a question mark there was really good, because so many times it looked like Owen was about to do it. And I got lost in this one. This one really got me. I think that the choice to have Owen pass out was exactly right. To have it done by ref stoppage was absolutely the right call. For Owen to get up after the match and ask for that handshake back, and Tommy to walk away and Owen to grab him back and demand that handshake, beautiful. Loved it. There was one moment that pulled me out of it just a little. Right near the end, there was a moment where Owen took down Tommy and it looked like he had it, and then Tommy got fingers on the bottom rope, but Owen sold as if it had been kicked out of at 2, and it's like, that was so close to just being the perfect Hellfire's the veteran, and even when he is completely down and out, he's gonna stay alive, and he just won't let Owen have it. But seeing that, get bumped off the pin motion just took me out of it that half a step. But other than that, I don't have much to complain about here. I thought this was a fantastic main event that really solidified Owen as one of those main event baby faces. I'll pass to Geoff. Geoff, what did you think of this one?
I mean, Tommy Hellfire is such a good, consistent act. Like, the guy is just so good. And Owen Steadman is probably collectively one of our favorite young wrestlers, young up-and-coming wrestlers. I can't say enough good things about Owen Steadman. And together, they just had a great match. Your analogy of The Undertaker and Jeff Hardy is very accurate, even down to Owen sort of, begging for more, sort of standing up, looking half teary. He got opened hard way and it added to the match. It kind of helped. There was a bit of scraping blood on his face as he's willing Tommy, to shake his hand. I really like the Andy Rhodes angle as well. I like that he didn't get involved in the match. I like that he didn't walk out with Tommy Hellfire, which did definitely cross my mind. I don't know about yours, thinking, oh, maybe there's a bit of a heel turn coming and, Tommy's forming a stable and to go against all the young guys and he's recruited Andy Rhodes. No, it was just a beautiful story and a beautiful match. I like that Tommy shook his hand but did it so quickly and begrudgingly that it really added something to Tommy's character in PCW. I think Owen needs something more. I think that he is still a little bit dry, but geez, when that bell rings, holy heck, he can go. And yeah, this was just great, top to bottom.
Jamie?
I agree. This was awesome. And with what Geoff said, I think what Owen needs is just lean into that MMA boxing gimmick sort of entrance a little bit more. He kind of comes out and he's halfway between hyped up babyface wrestler, cheering with the crowd, getting them into it. But then he's also doing the sort of MMA guy, hoodie on, boxing shorts, head down, I'm serious mode. I'm you need to kind of just pick one or the other and just I think go the Chuck Liddell entrance of hoodies on, heads down, headphones on, I'm fully serious. And then when you've got Andy come out with you, have him give you a mouthpiece or something and take the hoodie, wipe you down with a towel or something, and then get in the ring and just be really steadfast and serious. I think that would just add that little bit of edge to the character. And then when you get in the ring and do the crazy high flying stuff and the things that he can do so well, it's oh, he's not just a ground and pound guy.
Todd?
I will say, Owen, I love you. I think you're great. Don't wear black. There are 1,000 other colors in the rainbow, brother. You should be wearing those. Every other guy wears black. You should be... You're as white meat a baby face as I've seen around these parts for a long time. And I think you should be wearing royal blue, red, really colors that stand out, not your black. Everyone wears black. The guy you were working that night wore black.
Lean into the orange. Lean into the Taz orange and black. Have orange as the main part with some black highlights.
But I just think that makes you stand out as a babyface more. Makes him, because to me that's what I want to root for this guy. I want to support this guy. I want to get behind him. And just you're coming out and you're wearing black, I don't think that's him. It doesn't feel like him. So
put on the Aus Pro green and gold.
Yes, perfect. The match itself was really good. I like the fact that I just kept getting images of Dusty Rhodes bringing up Ron Simmons with Lex.
Yeah,
that Halloween Havoc. I thought that Andy was going to play somewhat of a role in the finish. Maybe Tommy just pulls off and hits him, or something like that, and that's what causes maybe Owen to get himself disqualified.
I actually thought in my head of Andy's going to throw in the towel for the kid.
Yeah, or something like that. Or something like that. I get what they were trying to do with him with the handshake, that gimmick. I don't like the fact that he was kind of selling that he wasn't just choked out. Like, he was just choked unconscious. And next thing, he's up demanding a handshake. If they were going to do that, then maybe I would have had him just out cold. And then Tommy just grabs his hand and shakes it, like, just that arrogant fucking, like, oh, well done, kid. Psst. Like, kick the feet, walk off. To give him something
ruffle
more
the
to
hair.
Come back at. Yeah. Or maybe, like, pick him up to do something, and, like, Andy jumps in the ring, like, just wards him off. Like, that's my boy. At the end of the day, this is my trainee sort of thing. And then you can run something where, like, fucking, you film a vignette down the line where Andy's in the back on his own and Tommy just attacks him. So Owen's now, this is not just for me now, I'm going this for my fucking trainer. You know what I mean? Like, just layers, little extra layers. And I think that's what you were talking about, what Owen needs. And I'd seen Nick Galea in the chat was like, I really like the match and I'm on the Stedman bandwagon. I just find him very dry as a character. I think Andy is that guy that could bring out layers in Owen. Whereas, like, this is, I care for this guy. This guy's my trainer. This is my Mickey. You know what I mean? So,
yeah,
and
you
that's
can't
a
just
Rocky reference for kids.
Respect the guy for his whole
career. Yeah. But I
Yeah.
love them. I think Owen once again proved he's a guy that's like he's got the world at his feet. Like, he just needs a little time and just the right opportunities, and he can be something really big.
Yeah, Matty Huss is thinking along the lines that I was. The way Taker gently slapped the face of Jeff Hardy after their match is the template for a finish like this. But yeah, I agree. Even if you want to build off what you were saying, Todd, you could have, after Hellfire celebrates, you could go lift Owen up and go around the neck for a choke slam, have Andy get him off the choke slam.
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
when Hellfire walks away, you can still have the Owen pulling him back and demanding a handshake. Like,
Yeah.
I liked the I've earned your respect, give me this.
Oh, I like that as well. But if you're going to do that, don't choke him out. Don't choke him unconscious.
Here's what I do. And it's a little different to what you guys are thinking, and I like what you're thinking. But I would have Hellfire grab a glass of water and throw it on Owen. And then Owen comes to, gets up and does the handshake thing. That way Andy's not involved. And then...
Yeah, but why would Tommy do that? Tommy wouldn't give a shit if he was unconscious or not. He doesn't give a shit if he's unconscious or not. Like,
he doesn't, but he wants to get him. He wants to humiliate him, Todd. It's about humiliation.
Yeah, and so you know what else is about humiliation? When I watch Todd's reaction when I do this. This show's free on YouTube. That's right, you can head on over to YouTube, search for Aus Pro Wrestling Generations, find the show, watch it for free. If you just heard us talk about this main event for the PCW title and you're not interested in watching it, I don't know what's wrong with you. This is, I tell you what, for the third show the company's made, Hooly Dooly, they are getting things right. So the fact that it's free on YouTube, like, yeah,
Lachlan, where can people see it? How can people see this?
Oh, sorry, I should have mentioned the price and the location. It's free on YouTube. Yeah.
There we go.
I hate you too.
So get amongst.
I hope the mic picked that up too.
It sure did. All right. Look, get amongst Aus Pro Wrestling, and also, in a more general sense, get amongst Aus Pro Wrestling, because there's Australian pro wrestling going on everywhere in the country. So if you're in New South Wales, this weekend is one of the most stacked weekends for wrestling I have seen. In fact, for the whole country. Just the amount of shows that we're talking about. New South Wales this weekend on Friday, June 20th, Saturday, June 21st, and Sunday, June 22nd. So all weekend, PWA, Pro Wrestling Australia's Viral Food Fest, is going to have some wrestling. VCW, Vulcan Championship Wrestling Australia's Mudgy Mayhem is on Saturday, June 21st, as is Australian Wrestling Superstars, as is Newcastle Pro Wrestling's Breakout, and as is Rock and Roll Wrestling Saturday Night Fights. Meanwhile, if you're in the Northern Territory... What was that, Jamie?
Rock and Roll just sold out as well.
Magic. So
don't worry about that place then.
Don't worry about that one. But this just shows, like, if you see a show that you like the look of, get a ticket. Don't wait. If you're in the Northern Territory, get a ticket to Saturday Night Fights at Top End Wrestling, Saturday, June 21st. interesting name that they've got going on there. If you're in Queensland, QWA has Festival of the Winds Saturday, June 21st. Tasmanian Championship Wrestling Jokers Wild on June 21st, this Saturday. In Victoria, you've got tomorrow night Peak Pro Wrestling's Once Upon a Time in Brunswick, Friday, June 20th. And then on Saturday, June 21st, Alpha Pro Wrestling's Alpha versus Energy. In Western Australia, EPW Perth, EPW's Winter Warfare is on Saturday, June 21st. New Horizons Pro Wrestling's Guardians of Wrestling and Southern Territory Wrestling's Destined for Victory, all Saturday, June 21st. What a stacked weekend. I need a breath.
It shows how much talent's in Perth. Holy
it's
cow.
Insane. Yeah. Right?
And that EPW show is going to be a fucking banger. It's going to be great.
Oh, yeah.
Such good stories at the moment from EPW. So excited about that show.
And it's not all happening this weekend either. Next weekend in Sydney, PWA's King of the Metro is on June 27th. It's got the King of the Metro 30-person Rumble match. It's also got a PWA heavyweight title match where Chevs is going to defend against Kai Drake. It's got a PWA tag team title match where the Backslide Girls, Everett Connors and Shay Cassidy, will defend those titles against the Velocities, Dude London and Paris De Silva. And the Soul of PWA title is going to be on the line with Robbie Eagles defending against Michael Spencer of MK Plus Ultra. Meanwhile, in Melbourne, we got a ticket update for Ballroom Brawl. Only 3 sections remain for Ballroom Brawl. They are in the 4-digit sales. That's right. They have sold over 1,000 tickets. There's still some great value general admission seated tickets available now at mcwtix.com.au. That's mcwtix.com.au for the show on July 5th. It's suitable for all ages. That one's got the 30-person Rumble. It's got the Sacrament with Edward Dusk versus Rocky Monero. It's got mixed tag action with Erica Reed and Caveman Ugg versus Eugenie and Moko Kai, the team of culture. It's got a #1 MCW Tag Team Contenders Tournament final with Mitch Waterman and Ryan Rapid taking on Amp Cather and the Clydesdale, and the Intercommonwealth title on the line with Adam Brooks up against Lucky O'Leary. It's stacked. It's stacked to the brim. I don't know how anyone could keep up with it. That's why we have this job coming here every Thursday night and talking about what's going on around the world of wrestling. You can find us at twitch.tv/WrestleRadio Australia every Thursday night from approximately 7:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. You can follow us wherever you get your podcasts at Wrestle Radio Australia. We're at Wrestle Radio AU on the socials. You've got to get amongst it. And we're going to get amongst it because we haven't even touched what's going on around the world of wrestling. So WWE news, AEW news, what's going on in New Japan. We'll be back with all of it right after this.
We here at Wrestle Radio Australia have had a lifelong dream since May to attend Crown Jewel. So we are excited to offer you all the chance to sponsor us in going over there for a holiday. Sorry, we mean to cover the event. Sponsor perks include your logo or name drawn on our shirts in a brand new Sharpie. Logo on shirts we intend to sell for profit. A firm handshake from Lockheed, gifts we buy at the airport on our way back from Perth. More cool stuff we'll think of later. Trust us, it'll be a smash hit. Plus, we are going to save you the hassle of going through a reputable site like GoFundMe. That's right, you can just send your money directly to us. Don't miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to give us money.
This advertisement is a parody and should in no way be taken seriously. As professionals, we feel that we should pay our own way and not ask people for handouts.
My thing about it was I love moments in wrestling. And to be fair, if you're someone who wants a belt constantly and you get upset that you don't have it, or you're constantly getting frustrated that you're not getting put in something like that, and then I think that more speaks from insecurity than it does understanding the business. The business is about moments, and I wrestled Danhausen. That was a moment. Yeah. The best thing about I was all week waiting for them there, like weeks waiting for them there and put the match graphic up, because I'll be like, oh, it's gonna be so great. Everyone's gonna see it. When we got to the day and I realized it didn't go up, I was like, oh my god, this is going to be great. I'm going to go out there. No one knows who I'm going to be facing. Hausen's music is going to hit, and everyone's going to be like, oh my god, we're going to see Bobby Bishop versus Danhausen. And this is exactly what happened. The pop was huge. And they weren't booing me. They were cheering us both because they realized they wanted this match.
It was a moment.
It was a moment.
That's exactly what we're talking about. You know, so like there's so much going on with what you're doing in the ring. But then on top of that, obviously you're a figurehead of 3 Count Academy, you know, all of these trainees who, you know, from all ranges at the moment, people who are still just coming through. We had people who were, you know, on cameras tonight for the first time, through to people who are winning championships who have come up through 3 Count.
Yeah.
How do you balance like what you want to do as a wrestler and pushing yourself forward while at the same time wanting to see success for the people that you're training?
So I don't, honestly. Sometimes look, I'll have a conversation, and usually the promoters will ask me, like, hey, what do you want to do? And I'll tell them, like, I just want to do stuff like this, something like this. It's not pitching title matches, it's just pitching. I just want to have fun. Because if I don't have fun in my life while balancing everything, then I'm going to lose my mind.
Yeah, 100%.
But in terms of, like, pushing myself forward, like, this is the year where something finally clicked. Like, recently I reached out to PWA and I asked, how do I get in Coliseum? But I didn't ask to be put in Coliseum. I asked, I would like to put my name forward. How do I get on? And if I can't, if I'm not worthy to be on, can you tell me how to work to that?
Dusky, I tried to warn you I didn't want to fight, but you didn't listen to me. And now you can tell me what the ceiling of the Thornbury Theatre looks like. And you're also out of the ballroom brawl. And you're going to have to cop that on the chin. See what I did there? Now I have no interest in entering the ballroom brawl myself. Robin Lucky had that covered. But that does leave me with an empty dance card on the biggest night of the year. So this is where I extend the old olive branch. And it's a sturdy branch at that. I have a challenge for you. How about you and I step into the sacrament together? Now I know what you're thinking. Why would I offer myself up for that? Well, just because high stakes has been and gone doesn't mean we can't bet on ourselves one more time. You see, if you win, I'll let you have whatever match you like. You can challenge the champion, you could fight anybody you like. Your wish is my command. But if I win, we're sending you back to the Resies where we found you. Okay, it's not a permanent ban from MCW. We're going to send you down to the twos, though. Get your confidence back up with some easier opponents, because I don't think you're ready for the big time yet. Oh, and the Icons won't interfere either. Scouts on it.
So, Edward, have a think about my proposal, and I'll hear from you soon. I've got to do a little bit of preparation.
I lost at high stakes because Rocky Monero set a trap and I ran right into it. I'm normally the one playing mind games, but he is in my head. All these insecurities that he wants to play on that I want to pretend don't exist, that just because I've heard them for years, I'm beyond them. But the truth is, there is a part of me that fears he's right. And you know that, don't you, Rocky? This challenge at Ballroom, it's just another trap, disguised in opportunity. So I charge in, make a mistake, and fail again. But don't bullshit me with this Scout's honor. All right, I know a rat when I smell one, crooked dice when I see them. This is a rigged game. It always has been. It would be easier for me to just walk away, but you know I will fight because it is what I know. Even if it is my undoing, but it is my choice. So I accept your challenge to enter the sacrament. I agree to your terms, I call your bet, and everything that comes with it. We will enter my world and I will show you everything I am capable of. You have dug a grave for me, Rocky. But at Ballroom Brawl, I am burying you in it.
At high stakes, Caveman Ugg conquered the odds to reclaim the MCW World Heavyweight Championship. Now the question is simple. Who's next? It's the biggest night on the MCW calendar. Too massive for anywhere else, so we're taking over the iconic Melbourne Pavilion. This is Ballroom Brawl. Two of the biggest, baddest men in MCW collide in a battle that's guaranteed to shake the pavilion. Fresh off losing his title, Ricky South is angry, dangerous, and looking to take his frustration out on anyone. Tommy Knight returns with power, presence, and is more than happy to oblige the former champ. These big bruising brutes are bringing the beef, and the winner walks away with the prize number 20 spot in the brawl. The tag team tournament finals are set. Waterman and Rapid versus Cabba and the Clydesdale. Water Rapids are the fan favourites, built on mutual respect and serious momentum. But their opponents are unpredictable, untested, and currently undefeated. The winners earn a shot at the Pariah and Tag Team Glory. Rocky Monero blindsided Edward Dusk with brass nuts at high stakes, cost him a spot in Ballroom Brawl. Now Rocky's challenging Dusk to the sacraments. No rules, no mercy, 15 minutes of violence. If Dusk wins, he gets any match he wants. But if he loses, he's out of MCW. Eugenie took her ruthlessness to another level, unleashing Moko to ambush Erica Reed at high stakes. But now Reed has the ultimate backup, MCW World Champion Caveman Ugg. They'll take on the dangerous new force known as Culture. It's Ugg and Erica versus Eugenie and Moko, and it's going to be a war. And let's not forget, the match that year after year shapes the future of Melbourne City Wrestling. 20 men, one winner, one guaranteed shot at the world title, the Ballroom Brawl.
Welcome back to Making Chicken Salad, the Wrestle Radio Australia show where we talk about everything going on around the world of wrestling. And we have a whole bunch of WWE stuff to talk about.
Sorry, before you do that, mate, because you're terrible at plugging yourself.
I truly am.
You are. And that is not a double entendre. The interview with you and Bobby will be up on Monday night. So
that's right. So for anyone who listened to the pod, you may have heard a little bit of me interviewing Bobby Bishop there after a show up in Toowoomba at Atomic Pro Wrestling. So I had a blast interviewing Bobby there. Can't wait to hear that interview go up because I would love to listen back to it. He had some really interesting stuff to say. And
also, that MCW promo is just beautiful. What a great promo for that show. And Jamie, I saw you drink from a juice box that you clearly caught from Gore all the way down here in Melbourne. How well does that sell that show? Well done to the MCW production crew. Really good promo. Sorry, Lachlan.
Oh, absolutely. No, you couldn't be more right. Thanks for the clap there, mate. Couple of injuries on WWE this week. First off, Elijah, the former Elias, signed to TNA, was on NXT and suffered a separated shoulder injury while there. But the bigger name at the moment, Liv Morgan, also suffering a shoulder injury. According to Fightful, the word within WWE is that the injury will require surgery. This is causing a significant creative reshuffling as she was involved in a number of programs. She's likely going to miss a number of months. Really, really disappointing news to hear that injury happen. And, here's hoping that the reshuffling that happens goes well, because that's horrible for Liv and frustrating for all the plans that were in place.
And on such a nothing
being
spot.
that she needs to, it was a drop toe hold.
Yeah, it's just a nothing move.
So I saw that on somebody on bloody Instagram or something, was just Kyrie must have bumped her wrong. I was like, how do you bump someone wrong in a drop toe hold? That's a bump you take yourself. It's just one of those things that can happen. Every podcast you've listened to, the people are going, hey, this can happen all the time. Randy Orton dislocated his shoulder, punching the mat, getting ready for an RKO. Sami Zayn dislocated his shoulder, pumping his fist to have a match against John Cena. It happens. It sucks. All the best for a recovery.
Unfortunately, Kyrie was also in the ring with Zoe Stark when Zoe had her injury. There is absolutely no heat on Kyrie. Both injuries are seen as just bad luck. And the fact that, and I was going to mention this later in the show, but I'll mention it now. The fact that some people online are actually sending Kyrie horrible things is just appalling. It's so dumb. And we're in this world where people feel that it's okay to openly be toxic towards specifically wrestlers in this case, but towards people with any kind of fame. Without reason, without just cause. It's appalling. So,
Yeah.
My heart goes out to Kyrie as well because people are just giving a shit for no reason.
The interesting thing with Elijah is this is a TNA contracted wrestler that got injured on a WWE show.
Yeah.
It'll be very interesting to see what happens with that going forward.
Who's handling the med bills on that one?
Yeah. I would imagine WWE. I would imagine they would.
Yeah.
I think they can probably afford it more.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yes. Yeah. Let's talk about Jeff's favorite news of the week. We have a main event announced for Saturday night's main event in Atlanta. Gunther is going to be challenged for the World Heavyweight Championship by Goldberg. If you're watching the podcast live, you can see one of my favorite images I've ever seen, which is, I believe, the official poster for Saturday night's main event. Jeff, speak on that.
I'll speak on it later.
Wonderful.
No, I'll speak on it later.
Yeah.
No, I know.
It's his chicken salad, guys. Just wait. Let's move on and talk about PW Insider reporting that SmackDown.
Hang on, we can talk.
Okay.
We can talk.
No,
about
let's talk Goldberg now. Okay, some people might have more constructive things to say. Todd, what do you think about Goldberg v Gunther?
Look, as far as I'm concerned, it means that Gunther gets to beat someone and doesn't chew up someone from the roster. So, and it's going to pop a rating in Atlanta. It's his hometown. It's just going to.
Yep.
It's really a nothing. Let's face it. The last main event for Saturday night's main event was John Cena and R-Truth.
Yep.
It's not like they're burning a big show. It's not like you're going to be on SummerSlam. It's a Saturday night's main event that's going up against All In.
And
they
really
have to lose
in Atlanta.
Yeah.
I do like also that they are very clearly promoting it as Goldberg's last ride, right?
Yes.
This
on
is
the
it.
T-shirt.
He's not coming back, right? So whatever happens, it seems like after this run, Goldberg's gone, right? Matty Huss says, honestly, though, this is actually a pretty bang-on one-off marquee match for the Big Four Network program. And in Atlanta to boot.
Yeah. I've got no problem with it. I understand why they did it. I would rather them do it like this than have Sami Zayn in that match.
Very true.
Because you're just gonna beat him, and then somebody who's there who you possibly see as a future world champion, you're just gonna have burnt on a Saturday night's main event, where it possibly could be affected because there's so much on that night with All In, etc.
And like Matty said, because it's like a network TV special, you kind of want someone with that name recognition of, we know who Goldberg is.
Yeah, but you don't have to see him every week. He's not going to be. You're not going to ruin him for anything else.
As long as they don't.
That was the biggest smile I think Jeff just got. When I said you don't have to see him every week, that made Jeff smile so very much.
I'm smiling for two reasons. One is medicine. And the other one is, I have so much to say about this later, that you're just going to have to wait. You're going to have to hang on. But I agree with you in theory. In theory, what you're saying is 1,000% correct.
You're saying you want Goldberg versus Austin Theory. PW Insider is reporting the SmackDown.
How did I fucking know you were going to do that? How did I know? Jesus Christ, sometimes you're predictable, mate.
PW Insider is reporting that SmackDown will return to a 2-hour format beginning with the July 4th episode. It's going to be pre-taped. August seems to be a definite ending for the 3-hour format, as a new series is debuting in the 10 p.m. time slot on USA. I'm personally saying, great. I think 2 hours is the right amount of time for a weekly wrestling show. All in favor?
Yeah. I heard a theory that this 3-hour gimmick was kind of a deal that they made with USA for USA helping them out with Raw.
Yeah.
When there was that gap between when Raw was off. So I think that they were like, okay, we'll do it for you for like a 6-month period. We'll give you 3 hours until your next slot of shows come up. Because I think it's like Rainmaker, the John Grisham series is going to be on.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
it will.
unless they move it an hour forward and like SmackDown starts at 7, which God, I hope they don't do. We're going to go back to 2-hour Raws, thank God. No, 2-hour SmackDowns.
I think USA was just waiting for the right product for that time slot.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
And they believe they found one. I agree with you all that 2 hours is a much more digestible amount of time to watch. Even Raw's time fluctuates a hell of a lot, but it tends towards 2.5 at most.
It's 2.5 basically now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is perfect, I think.
Which is great too. So,
Yeah, absolutely. Moving on, Los Garza are the new Triple R Tag Team Champions. The co-main event of Sunday's show in Monterrey had Angel and Birdo defeat Samson and Forastero, Psycho Clown and Pagano, and the Nemets in a four-way match to win the titles for the first time. This is notable because we've now got a WWE tag team with the belts for AAA, Triple R, however you would like to pronounce it, as well as an NXT star having the TNA belt. So, some technically other companies' titles being held by WWE people. What are we thinking about this, Jamie?
Yeah.
The TNA one is weird. The Triple R one, I can go, yeah, that's fine. They technically own them, so that's okay.
They own the
TNA
thing,
one
yeah.
is just weird.
Todd?
I believe too, you can see that show on YouTube. I think Triple Mania Regia is on YouTube somewhere.
Todd, how much does it cost to watch it?
It's a subscription-based product. You jerk.
Yes, but how much does it cost to actually watch the event?
Well, if you're paying for your internet, it costs money.
Or if you want YouTube Premium where you don't get ads.
That's a very good point. That's a very good point. It's amazing that Triple Mania Regia is free on YouTube. Moving on, let's talk about what's gone on over on the other side of the fence with AEW. And lawyer time. That's right, a civil lawsuit filed in Michigan accuses John Moxley, real name John Good, of deviating from the script and injuring a production team member during a 2023 episode of AEW Dynamite. As first reported by John Alber of Sports Illustrated, the suit was filed by Christopher Dispenza in Wayne County on May 30. Dispenza claims he suffered significant injuries, including cervical, spine, and shoulder damage, requiring surgery after being shoved to the ground by Moxley during the May 10th, 2023 broadcast. Dispenza, who was not an AEW employee and had been brought in by Little Caesars Arena to work the event, was instructed to hand Moxley a screwdriver during the match. The lawsuit alleges that Dispenza was given no warning that Moxley would physically engage with him afterwards by shoving him. Also, something about Dispenza then being demoted to carpenter or something. There was a very strange situation here. Todd, what do you make of this?
Well, first off, it's dumb for AEW to not put an AEW employee in that spot.
Mm-hmm.
Just out of...
Or at least an extra that you're like a trained wrestler extra.
Yeah, exactly. Don't put your hands on fans. Don't put your hands on people that aren't wrestlers. That's unfortunate. Like, I've seen the footage. It doesn't look like much, but it's still going to cost them. I can't see them not having to pay in some way, shape, or form. Because even if he's not really injured, that's still assault, brother. You know what I mean? Like what he did is still assault, and it really is a nothing bump.
I think the only thing that
this guy had going into it too.
Yeah, the only thing that will save them is if they can somehow, in his medical records, prove that he had some sort of injury beforehand. They'll probably still have to pay him something, but not as much as if they caused the injury.
Yeah, but if he had some sort of injury like that beforehand, they shouldn't have put him in that position to get.
But they may not have known about it as well. So
yeah, that's
he may have hidden it from them.
Ignorance isn't a defense, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's just dumb. They should have used an extra or
Yeah.
Like, how many guys they got sitting out the back?
Yeah.
Use one of them. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. How many?
Well, and then there's another element.
I know how many indie wrestlers are just sitting in the back at times,
Mhm.
just from fucking Down Under, like the show Down Under.
Sometimes they're
people
sitting
go along.
Sometimes they're even sitting in the front. Let's be honest, at AEW, especially back when they were booking larger arenas, show looks great now.
Mhm.
You know?
Matty Huss says, as we saw with Liv Morgan, though, the most innocuous of bumps can cause quite the injury. Also worth noting, something that got brought up in this case is the fact that apparently Moxley has had numerous other disciplinary things within AEW. So I have no idea, like, what that's talking about.
Do you know what?
Like,
That screams of a lawyer watching the show and thinking, "Oh, okay."
yeah.
That's what they're like. You know, that's not.
Look,
really
he's holding the
right.
belt hostage. Of course, it hurt someone.
He tried to kill someone with a plastic bag.
But do you know what that like? Do you know what that brought back to me though? Like the amount of times that MJF has done something to someone in the crowd, in some way, shape, or form. I'm like, they're really lucky they haven't hit something like this before.
Yeah, he threw alcohol on a kid.
Yeah, they're really very lucky that they've got along this far, like 6 years, without having someone sue them.
It also made me think back to that lady in the front row of WrestleMania is probably
They
going to
got
be
hit by
watching
the-
this pretty close.
Yeah. Well, there was that rumor that
That's-
you know the
that's
guy that's
exactly
always
what
in
I
the
said.
front row.
Green
Yeah.
shirt
guy.
The green shirt guy. It looks like he might have been the one that CM Punk assaulted when he was a heel. You know, when he had the belt and somebody touched him, and he, like, if you could track that video down, there was something going on that looks like it's him, and so maybe this is his payoff. He just gets front row tickets to every fucking show he wants.
Yeah,
interesting.
Which would add up.
Yeah,
Which would
it'd
add
track.
up, really.
All right, on to some other news. After winning the CMLL title from Zexius at Wednesday's AEW Grand Slam Mexico event, Mercedes Moné will defend the belt for the first time at this Friday's Fantastica Mania event in Arena Mexico against La Catalina. Moné now holds the TBS title, the Women's Owen Hart Cup title, the CMLL Women's title, the EWA Women's title, and the Rev Pro Undisputed British Women's title.
She has a couple more, but I can't really.
I'm pretty sure there is a couple more, but those are 5 significant ones. What do you think of that, Todd?
Yep, that's a thing that happened. Look, I've seen all the shit online and people saying, "Oh, looks like she's Hoganed herself into another title," yada yada yada. And I completely understand the comparison. I completely understand where they're coming from. Here's the thing, though: she's got no real creative control over Rev Pro. She's got no real creative control over EWA. She's got no creative control over CMLL. These companies are putting these belts on them because they know that she can come back in and draw a crowd when she comes in. As much as we might think it's annoying and we might think, oh, great, she's burying another wrestler and she's Hulk Hoganing it, she still would sell tickets to going to a local show, to a lower level indie show. She's going to sell her fair share of tickets being on that card. So why wouldn't you do it? Like, there is 100% a reason why Renegades put the belt on Indy Hartwell.
Oh, of course.
Because they can put her on a poster, former WWE star Indy Hartwell.
Say what you will.
Just what it is.
If Moné flew down and won the MCW title or the PWA title, we'd go, yeah, of course. Right?
Yeah.
Like, bring the fans in. Get money.
We've been talking about Pro League maybe like introducing a women's title. If they did a tournament and Mercedes was in that tournament and won the belt, you'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Holy shit, they're
Yeah,
spending
you're
some
good.
money to bring it back, but yeah.
Why does MCW pop? Their bigger crowd started because it sells out there, but their bigger crowd started when Buddy was coming down every now and then. I mean, of course it did.
Yeah, it's just smart booking for a local indie guy. If you can get someone for a certain amount of dates and it makes sense financially, you do it.
Yes.
Need I remind you that Zack Sabre Jr. is a winner of Coliseum? I mean, brilliant
Yeah,
choice,
exactly.
great wrestler, great crowd.
Yeah.
Yep. Awesome. Look, AEW Texas's card for Saturday, July 12th hasn't moved much, but we'll cover it again quickly anyway. AEW World Champion Jon Moxley is going to defend his title against Hangman Adam Page. AEW Women's World Champion Toni Storm will be defending that title against Mercedes Moné. And there's a winner-takes-all match with AEW Continental Champion Kazuchika Okada versus AEW International Champion Kenny Omega for the new Ovula belt. So that'll be exciting.
The Unified Championship, it's called.
Yes, that's right. But it's an oval. I like pointing out that it's an oval. It's fun. New Japan Dominion has had some title changes. Sho and the third member of House of Torture, Doki, joined forces for the first time to defeat Master Wato and Yo to win the IWGP Junior Tag Team titles.
Geoff.
You do need...
No, but we're sorry he lost. I know, but we're sorry he lost for you, mate.
No, it's not true. It's not true. He won, and there was some kind of dusty finish where they had to give the belts to Sho and Dalki because of some snafu in the space-time continuum or bullshit.
Well, Wato can't just hold every title.
No. So Doki and... what is his name now? Don Farley have joined House of Torture.
Yeah.
Oof. Okay.
Yep. The IWGP Tag Team titles also changed hands next when Taichi and Tomohiro Ishii won the IWGP Tag Team titles, defeating Great-O-Khan and Callum Newman. It was always weird for me to see Great-O-Khan walk out with a title in the year of our Lord 2025. I think that Taichi and Tomohiro Ishii, I like seeing Ishii with gold, so that's real fun. Bolton Oleg then followed. He won the Never Openweight title from Konosuke Takeshita. And in the co-main event, Gabe Kidd defeated Yota Tsuji to win the IWGP Global Championship for the first time. And then that's a whole bunch of titles to change hands on one show.
Yeah, I think the only title that didn't change hands was the heavyweight title that night.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the junior belt wasn't even defended.
No.
Which is dumb.
Yeah. We are coming into one of the most wonderful times of the year, though, to be a wrestling fan, because the G1...
time when we all resubscribe to New Japan World.
That's the one! The G1's been split up into 2 blocks. We've got some people confirmed. We don't have everyone confirmed, because A block is going to have 2 more people get in, and so is B block. So I'll read out the blocks, but keep in mind 2 more people to be added to each. Starting with A block, we've got Hiroki Goto, Bolton Oleg, Yuya Uemura, Yota Tsuji, David Finlay, Evil, Sonata, Hiroshi Tanahashi, and the remaining 2. Meanwhile, B block has El Phantasmo, Shota Umino, Shingo Takagi, Zack Sabre Jr., Great-O-Khan, Gabe Kidd, Ren Narita, Konosuke Takeshita, and the remaining 2 participants.
I'm waiting to see Robbie going, that's not right. For some reason.
I don't know.
Robbie, correct me on the blocks. There's 2 play-in matches that will take place on June 23rd at Karakoram Hall, while another 2 will be held at Tokyo Budokan on July 4th. The winners of those matches will determine the last entrance. The play-in schedule is A block play-in Taichi versus Callum Newman, and B block play-in Ishii versus Drilla Maloney. And then the following event, A block play-in Ryo... This is the one I always get wrong. Ryohei Aiwa versus Don Farley, and Yoshihashi versus Chase Owens for B block.
Chase Owens also part of House of Torture now.
Oh, is he?
We love House of Torture. Yeah,
so that's got to mean that there's no original members of Bullet Club now in Bullet Club.
Nope. None at all.
Yeah, Farley was the one.
The last one.
Yeah.
Yeah, very exciting.
Wow.
Look, all 4 of us are here. I think we've got to do it. Are we going to make some G1 predictions?
I think we wait till after July 4th when the whole field is announced. I think that's sure, we probably don't think that Taichi
Yoshihashi's winning the whole thing.
Yeah. I somehow don't think, and no offense, I don't think Don Farley is going to be gracing the main event of Wrestle Kingdom. But I think until we do that, then we can do what we did last year, who we think are in the semi-finals, finals winner. So I think that's the only way we can do it, really.
It sounds good. I just like to intone that this is a pretty uninspiring G1. I'm not really fired up about this year much, boys. I don't know if there's a ground. I can see some agreements here. Any comments on that, or am I just going to be the only dickhead who's saying?
No, Geoff, I think that if you look at these like lineups, I don't necessarily think that there's anyone who I go, well, that person's obviously missing, right? Like Sonata's not in it, but other than that, like most of the big names are here. President Tanahashi's in it, right? Like obviously, yes, we're missing Master Watto, but as far as heavyweights go, like you've got a lot of the big names. You've got Takeshita and Saber and Shingo and Shota and like all those people are there. I think the feeling is just that New Japan feels like it's maybe in a little bit of a low period right now. Like the heavyweight title kind of was on Saber Jr. and then it moved around a little bit, and it feels like the run that old Cold Skull had maybe didn't live up to what was hoped, and it just feels like the whole promotion hasn't recovered from there is kind of where I'm feeling it's at.
Yeah. I actually think it predates that slightly, to be honest, but please continue.
Yeah. Also, like, aside from Takeshita, who I don't really even count as, even though he is like AEW, because he signed
he's got 3 contracts.
Joint. Yeah, he's got like 3 contracts. There's no real like outsiders this year. There's no real surprise outsiders where you can go, oh, cool, I'll get to see this match. Like the junior tournament had Nick Wayne in it and had the other guy from, what was his name?
The Jet, Kevin Knight.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Kevin signed a double contract as well, I think. But, what was his name for another Japanese promotion?
Oh, the 2 Square guy.
Yeah. What's his name?
I cannot remember. And they had Dragon Kid too.
Yeah,
where's Robbie?
So yeah, but like I would like to see someone from a rival. Like I would like to see like Jag.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, get a Jag in there. Get a
even just in one of these play-in ones.
Yeah. So that's the thing. It's just that to me is what's a little bit disappointing. I want to see the outsider come in, so there's a fresh match on every night that you're seeing. Like if there's one in each block, there's a fresh matchup you're going to see every night.
It's also the problem is a lot of these matchups we've seen over the years in either tags or one-on-ones. There's nobody in there, and this is pursuant to what you're saying, Todd, to really give it that spin of, oh, there's someone, I don't know them, but I want to see what they can do. And New Japan are great at telling a story about what that person can do. They don't win the G1, but they make an impression that's big enough. Yeah. So next time they're in New Japan, people go, holy fuck, they're back. Isn't it great? Whether it's next year's G1 or some other time. It's a story that builds, and it's a bit disappointing that that's not offered this year.
You're like, throw in an UGG.
Yeah.
Throw in an UGG. Why not have an UGG? That's what I keep saying. Throw in an UGG. There are a couple of Caveman Egg. There's a couple of those B block wrestlers that like I'm excited to see most of their matchups. Gabe Kidd's on a bit of a hot streak. Like I'm excited to see everything he does. Especially you've got Gabe Kidd, Takeshita, and ZSJ in the one block. Like I'll take all of those matchups. That'll be fun. But yeah, it doesn't feel like the gold mine that it often does feel like. And I don't think that's necessarily the names. I think it is partially the not having any particularly surprising things to give us the big shiny, ooh, what about these matchups? And it's also just not feeling a general New Japan excitement in the air at the moment, I think. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
This is, like a spoiler, this was my chicken shit, this lineup in general, because it's it doesn't feel like it's the best of the best heavyweights from around the world. It just kind of feels like we're trying to do this kind of cheap this year, so we're just going to use our guys.
Yeah.
You know what's
a bit of a budget
crying
G1 this year.
You know what's a crying shame is that the Continental Classic is probably going to be better than the G1 this year. And the reason that's a crying shame is not anything to do with AEW, but the Continental is very much a poor man's G1. You know,
Yeah,
it's the
like
G1
that's
where
the
we
whole thing.
can't have the G1. So
There's
yeah,
G1 at home.
respect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. House
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
it,
I
it would
think-
have just been as simple as chuck in an UG, maybe get one guy from like the American indie scene that's doing some cool stuff. I don't know who that would be.
Yeah.
But like that's all you needed. You need to just chuck in two more guys that are fresh, not
You totally
look,
just
it's
reminded me what I was going to
all
say.
New
now.
Japan dudes.
How much
Like when you
would
said,
we
like,
pop? How much would we pop if Matt Cardona wound up in the G1? I mean, that'd be amazing. And they could do it.
Yeah, I was thinking because I was trying to remember what I was going to say because like when we were doing the review on Aus Pro, I was trying to think of who like during the show it popped in my head straight away. Ricky DeBoom looks like a thick Blake Christian.
That is what he looks like.
Yes, I can see.
You know, I'm going to just say the thing that I'm saying everywhere at the moment. Stick Michael Oku in there. That's become a little bit of my catchphrase at the moment. I'm really liking what Michael Oku's doing. Stick Michael Oku in there.
Yeah.
But
Like, there
yeah,
were plenty of guys that were sitting there that they could have got to come over for a month and do this thing.
Yeah, they could have put Brody King in there easily.
Yeah, even a couple more AEW guys.
Yeah. Oh, Brody, could you imagine Brody King in that tournament? Holy shit.
Oh.
That's a great call. Jeff.
Amazing. Beautiful.
I guess like I understand they want to give Hiroshi Tanahashi like one more run through it, but the dude's knees barely work these days.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to be in this tournament to have a big match. I'm scared they're going to have him win to have like the final Tanahashi match be the.
Yeah, because what is it, like 14 back-to-back matches that he's got to have or something?
Yeah, I'm scared he's
And
going to
we-
win, and that's going to be like he did it. His last thing is going to be the Tokyo Dome. If he loses, he's riding off into the sunset. It's like, oh my God, please no.
Yeah, oh God, yeah. 100%. I don't want to see that happen at all. I mean,
I hope-
fucking...
I hope you're wrong, but I've spent the week being disappointed about something, so we'll.
Yeah, but that's only a week. This is like a month of wrestling that's going to be ruined for me, and then 6 months of build.
Look, it feels like a big part of the problem that we're having, right, is like, it feels like a big part of the problem we're having is like lack of surprise, right? Like for something to be interesting and exciting, you really need a lack of surprise. So Jamie and Jeff, I can't wait to hear what your chicken shits are this week. Let's get into it. Jamie, chicken shit.
Oh, yeah, I like I said, it's this lineup sucks. God dang it.
All right. Todd, do you want to have a chicken shit so we can let Jeff go off, or do you want to hear him go off now?
Let Jeff go off. I've been waiting for this.
All right. Fire away, Mr. Seti.
Let Jeff go off. Right. Let me clarify this by saying this isn't specifically about Goldberg, but this is about a wrestler who, for a start, was blown up by the time he reached the ring. That is a dangerous sign considering 3 years ago he dropped The Undertaker on the head and almost killed him. My worry is not Goldberg, and I agree with you completely. It's great that he's coming out, that Gunther's not burning a more legitimate challenge. I get all of that. I understand the logic of that, but this is somebody who 10 years ago came back and said, I've come back so my son can see me wrestle. His son is now sitting on the couch going, for fuck's sake, Dad, stop.
We've seen you.
You know what I mean? Like, he's seen it. Nothing against Goldberg, but Goldberg has never been the safest wrestler. And at 58 years old, he is older than Hogan was in his last WWE match. I know that's weird because Hogan had the same thing Earthquake did for me, in that I always thought he was much older than he was. I think that Goldberg has been wonderful. And the fact that he's coming back, it just worries me. It's dangerous. And it's also about him not hurting himself as well at this point. 58 years old is a lot slower reaction time. It's a lot slower recovery time. And, Todd, that's funny, but the important thing is that we don't see someone get hurt, and that's what I'm saying. And
I'm
that's
not worried
why
about that because I don't think Gunther will put himself in a position to let that happen.
Look, I know enough about wrestling to know
Look what
that
happened to Liv, though.
you can only be so safe. You can only be so safe. His life is still partly in Goldberg's hands. And I agree with what Bob Vance is saying. The Undertaker match was 6 years ago. He's 6 years older than that, and coming back for another match, it's kind of akin to Flair's last match, and it is. There's part of me that wants to get the popcorn out and just go, oh my God, I can't wait. What's going to happen? Because, but let's not kid ourselves. There is an element of danger in this, and that's why it's my chicken.
Like, there's an element of danger in every match. That's the thing. Like, I just think that.
But more so this one, Todd.
Yeah, but Gunther is smart enough. Gunther is smart. Is a smart worker, and that's who I trust. And like, you can say it's akin to Flair's last match, but come on, Flair had been dead for 10 minutes, and no one told him when he walked out for that fucking match. Like, Goldberg is a long way from that. Let's face it. Let's be completely honest here.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's a lot of chops and just real basic stuff.
That's what 100% I think is going to be.
Can I, just hypothetical, what if it's a squash match?
That's what I'm hoping.
Yes, please.
That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping it's literally chop.
Gunther squashing Goldberg or Goldberg squashing Gunther? Is that what you're saying?
Obviously, Gunther squashing Goldberg, for the love of God. Like, Vince does not run this company anymore, please.
Look, I don't think it's going to be a squash. I don't think it's going to be any longer than 10 minutes.
God, I hope not.
Because Goldberg hasn't got that gas. But Gunther will bump around for him for a bit, but then cut him out and then finish him.
I think best case scenario is it's the Pat McAfee match again. So it's that kind of Goldberg will get a couple of small hope spots, but that's it. That's it. I mean, my reservations are only health ones. More than anything else, they're health ones. I also we live in a world where WWE has built a pretty robust logic. So so-and-so is the number one contender because he won a series of matches, or he won a match, or he won a tournament, or he won a rumble. That's the way it's been for the last 18 months. A 58-year-old man coming out and going, "You're next," shouldn't make him the number one contender to the heavyweight title.
They never said he was the number one contender. They just gave him a title shot. Was R-Truth the number one contender to John Cena?
Yes.
Who did R-Truth beat?
Wow.
No, but at least there was what I'm saying is at least there was physicality, and at least there was something before the R-Truth match. Whereas this,
but there was in Atlanta like a while ago. They'd set that seed that long ago, and Goldberg said it in his promo.
Yeah, didn't like Gunther basically talk shit about Goldberg without Goldberg being there?
Well, talk shit about his the family. No, it wasn't Goldberg's son there or something, and he was talking shit to his son. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I know it was something that happened in Atlanta. Yeah.
I still say that it's too dangerous. It really is. It's too dangerous.
Todd,
to both
chicken
Goldberg
shit.
and
Go on, mate. What are you saying?
To both Goldberg and Gunther, it's dangerous. Sorry, it is.
My chicken shit this week is I have been seeing this thing on X where they have the normal aggregators have taken two lines out of a article that was about Tony Khan having to deal with the whole WBD split up, right? And the two lines in this article was there is speculation that TKO were looking to part way, looking to offload WWE, and people have been running rampant with that. The speculation. Now, do you know who that speculation was from?
Tony.
Jonathan fucking Coachman.
Oh, Coachman. Yeah.
On a podcast.
Who also said that Britt Baker was close to signing with AEW.
Thank you.
Idiot.
I mean, if you're going to listen to anything that fucking idiot has said, especially when his best mate is fucking trust me, bro, on anything to do with wrestling. Let's face it, the only reason Jonathan Coachman is back trying to do this fucking grift is because he got his ass kicked out of ESPN. And he can't be generic host number 3 anymore, and he found there's a grift still. His name still means a little something in wrestling because fucking Russo told him he is. He's got fucking zero to do. Like, the fact that this week, Jamie, like, put the nail on the head too. Jamie, like, he said this week, or intimated, that Britt Baker was going to sign with WWE. And when I say intimated, they said, oh, someone from AEW is looking to be signed by, like, WWE very soon. And the guy, his co-host, went, oh, Britt Baker, and he just went, ding, ding. So he didn't actually say it, but they said it, which meant people came out and said, well, she just signed an extension, like a 5-year extension in 2022. So I don't see that happening anytime soon.
Especially because she's been out injured for ages too, since then.
Yeah. Fucking, just fucking dumb aggregators taking 2 lines out of a what was a fairly good, like, and the author of this article anyway, it was on Yahoo Finance as well. So, like, do a little bit of fucking fact checking, brother, before you put in speculation. Speculation is one guy that had to dance to Charleston in front of The Rock, and The Rock kicked him out of fucking thing ages ago. That's your speculation. That's your expert. That's your insider. I don't think he's been inside a WWE arena in 20 years.
So I'm going to read out. Sorry, Geoff.
You're more upset about that than I am about Goldberg, Todd.
It's just dumb. Like, I just hate the fact that, like, at least, like, check your sources before you do something. You write something like that. And aggregators are going to aggregate. That's what, like, Air Gold and Drain Badminton or whatever the fuck their names are. They do 24/7 on X because they try to get the clicks, and they've got their whole AEW fan base that will, like, churn that up and make them money. So I don't know why it works me out, but it just does because it's just dumb and it's irresponsible.
Oh, yeah. I read a story today because I was scrolling on a social, and it was like Bailey's getting hit up by a message from someone every week. And I was like, oh, yeah, who? Good for her. You know, a WWE prominent person. It was Cole. It was Michael Cole reaching out to say hi.
Checking on her to make sure she's okay.
Checking on her.
Yeah.
Making sure she was all right. I mean, for fuck's sake.
And what was the other one that they were saying it was another sign because Nick Khan sold $4 million worth of WWE stock. He has $41 million worth of WWE stock.
Yeah.
He sold $4 million maybe to do something like buy a house or fucking some shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that was my chicken shit.
I'm gonna read out Matty Huss's chicken shit. He said Corey Graves' much welcomed fill-in role on Raw served to highlight how terrible some of the color commentators are presently. Booker T, Pat McAfee. But then Matty Huss, after you started talking, said, I changed my chicken shit to Coachman. Fuck, what a snake oil salesman talking as if he has a direct line to VKM and main event talent. Yes, absolutely. My chicken shit is the injury that happened on Raw. Really always upsetting to see an injury. More upsetting seeing fans who know that this is fictional going, serves her right for what she did to Rhea Ripley, rah, 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 rah.
Yeah.
What the fuck is wrong with you people? That's a human being who got hurt playing a character on TV. Get fucked.
Yeah, but some people still don't know that character is a character. Unfortunately, as dumb it is, but there are some people that are still in that dark and still
it's the same
believe
thing we saw last week with like people with the Roxy.
Yes,
thread. They don't realize it's human beings, not just wrestling characters.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I thought of another chicken shit too while we were talking. Jordan Grace's new theme song that they debuted this week. What a terrible piece of crap that was.
Do you know that there were chants at the end of the show?
Yeah.
Fire
It was
Jeff Rebel.
after her entrance. It was after the entrance, like the match had just started and the crowd's turning fire Def Rebel. Like, yes.
So do Death Rebel have something in their contract where they need to have, like, every song they have needs to have someone say something before the song starts?
You need like a button at the start. Yeah.
It's generally their
maybe
name or catchphrase.
Do you think maybe they heard like fucking like Cody Rhodes' theme and go, we're going to do that for everything? They love that Down Straight song. We're going to do it for everything now.
The problem is that it used to work because it was done sparingly, and that's why it worked for Stone Cold, and that's why it worked for Mankind. When you heard the glass break or the car crash, it was like notable. But now all of them have it.
Remember when they tried to do that with Booker? Don't hate the player, hate the game. I was like, we fucking...
The game is a character.
Need that.
The
fucking,
what are we doing?
The Harlem Heat theme spoke for itself. It didn't need him saying that shit at the start.
Mm-hmm.
Still the best one. The template is Jake Roberts. Trust.
That was good.
That was so good because it was so
but that was like its theme the whole way through. The song was to Trust Me.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just Def Rebel did one good song, and that's Glorious.
They're all just so generic. Like, here's a guitar riff, chuck it on loop. That'll do.
I'm tempted to grab one of those and put it into an AI detector.
Oh yeah, didn't Def Rebel do Shinsuke's original one, or was that Cephos?
I think that was
Cephos.
Oh no, Cephos did Glorious as well. Yeah. Cephos did Glorious
never mind.
as well.
Never mind.
Good. They're
I
actually
mean, like,
good
honestly,
musicians.
like, fucking, what's his name? Jacob Fatu's is good. I don't mind Jacob Fatu's. They're not all fucking shit, but, like, the majority are shit.
Yeah.
I think the fact that they're, like, getting Limp Bizkit to do Breaker's new theme song.
Yeah.
I think that's a sign where they're like, yeah, these guys kind of suck. Well, let's just actually pay some actual musicians to make some songs for us.
I wonder if they look at like what UFC's bill is and go, maybe we can match that. We can afford that for, because UFC is mostly licensed music.
The UFC would be paying a fortune for those licensed songs, I'm sure.
Yeah, they would be. They would be.
Except they don't like pipe them into the actual broadcast. It's just like
it's just walkout music.
Yeah, I know, but they still have to pay for that shit. Like Heyman used to get away with it back in the 90s, but they can't get away with that anymore.
Yeah.
No, because like, New Japan mute their stuff sometimes.
I would suspect that WWE will move to Def Rebel. You can do the NXT with people because you don't want to pay for their music in case they end up not paying out, like coming to fruition and being a main event star.
Yeah,
Once you come to the main roster, we'll license something for you.
Yeah.
I do have another chicken shit that I should mention. Just quickly, it's that Hikuleo is in WWE now, and it's not important enough that we cared about it at all and put it in the rundown. He was there.
He didn't. Yeah, but he did a fucking dark match on main event.
Yeah, he beat.
When he does something that's actually
Pretty
broadcast,
Deadly, right?
Yeah, when he does something that's actually broadcast, we'll talk about it. I mean, he's been on the bench for WWE for that friggin' long, which makes me wonder what they didn't like about him or what they didn't see. Or maybe they were just waiting for Fatu to break away from Solo.
Maybe. The other thing that I want to mention, which I don't think is bad enough to be a chicken shit, and I think is really funny, but not funny enough to be a chicken salad, is Rikishi saying that they should fire all the writers who couldn't work out something to do with Jey Uso.
He's a dumb fuck, isn't he?
Oh, it's so good. You knew there was going to be something. You just knew it, and there it is.
There's so many times I want to say to him, that's cool, man. Like, I love that you're sticking up for your son now. It's a pity you couldn't go to his wedding because you had to make a fucking shot somewhere. You really loved your son that much that you couldn't miss that fucking celebrity signing somewhere, could you?
Oh, man. All right. Moving on, though. We've gotten the chicken shit out of the way. Let's get to the chicken salad. Jamie, what have you enjoyed in wrestling this week?
I really enjoyed just the overall feel of AEW Grand Slam today, where they sort of incorporated with CMLL it wasn't just oh, look, we're running an AEW show in Arena Mexico. Like, it actually felt like a legitimate lucha show with all of the crazy tag matches and wackiness. Not enough women on that show. That's a problem they've had for a while, so didn't put that in chicken shit. But Mystico's entrance was incredible. And Hangman cutting an opening promo in all Spanish. I was like, whoa, that's awesome.
Yeah, that was going to be my chicken salad. I'll say Hangman just coming out and cutting a promo in Spanish was so cool. Like, I'm in Arena Mexico. Let's lay it down. Comes out, delivers it. Like, that is how you make a show that's not in your home country feel like it's for the fans in attendance. I really enjoy it.
A school teacher might be slightly bilingual.
There you go. School teacher in the US. Wow.
Yeah.
And
wow.
Brody King as well. The
Yeah.
defund us shit or destroy us. Yes. Cool.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Geoff, chicken salad?
Well, this week's NXT mainly predominantly female show, which was great. And it felt important and it felt really, really good. Zarya had a nice match in there, a really, really good match with, I can't remember their names right now. I'll just quickly look them up. Jakara Jackson against, she's terrific in ring.
I'm sure she is.
Are you on it or am I?
Nope. I'm getting there.
Hang on. While you do that, I'll read Andy's. Andy's, my chicken salad of the week is Indy Hartwell. Standing in line has never been such a pleasure. Watching her interact with her fans, watching everyone walking away from the interaction with a huge smile made my... Hang on a second. So I should put that up there. Made my heart well full. She is such a credit to herself and to Renegades. She is single-handedly vindicating the first live wrestling experience for a lot of young people. Yeah, her vlogs are pretty entertaining too. She's covering a lot of her run, like indie run with that. I say indie run. Matty Haas also said chicken salad's Indies Renegades wrestling run, evidently not just being a 2-shot deal. Great to see the storyline continue and evolve there. Also, good she gets to see her family regularly.
It was Jakara Kaylani Jordan against Lash Legend was great, as was Jada Parker against Thea Hale. Look, top to bottom, this was a terrific show, and it was really good to see. And Zarya had a lovely match with Izzy Dane that also sort of progresses the storylines a little bit.
Yeah, I like that you made the same error that the commentators made of calling out Jakara Jackson, who was literally just released.
Yeah, yes. Sorry, that was my bad.
But yeah, no, this NXT show was really cool. It had 5 matches, and 4 of them were women's #1 contendership title tournament eliminators. Like, that's cool. To have a 5-match show with 4 women's matches, it feels like we've, finally reversed the tables that we had years ago, at least a little bit. So that's really nice to see. Todd, chicken salad for the week.
Look, if I was to pick one, because I really haven't been watching a hell of a lot of like WWE, TNA, AEW. I haven't really been watching a lot of it. So I think my only real watching of wrestling this week was watching the Aus Pro show. And just when you see stuff like the Pursuit come out as a new group, and it gives it for someone like me, I'm like, wow, they can do a lot of stuff with this guy. I love that. I love the fact that they've got 3 guys that really are either really young in the business or haven't really been given a massive chance yet. To see guys that have that potential in that group is really, it's great to see. It's really inspiring to see for someone like me who likes thinking of storylines and thinking about where you can take a character and all of that sort of stuff. Seeing those guys is like looking at a really good steak meal. Like I can see, a really good steak that hasn't been cooked. And if I'm a chef, I'm like, I know how I could cook this, and it'd be really fucking tasty. So I'm really interested to see what they do with them. So, because I think there's a lot of upside in all three of the members. Normally, there's one or two. Like, there's one guy say, "Okay, that's your Marty right there," but it doesn't really look like it so far with these three. All three of them look like they have massive potential. Hector, I think's had massive potential for ages. Back when, I hate saying these dreaded words, DMDU, they were with those in his tag team with Mitchell, with Mr. Wrestling.
Oh,
Mitchell.
the anti-death match authority.
I love those two as a tag team. I thought they had great. I don't know what's happened to him, to Mitchell either, but I thought they were great. And he's been around that long for me, and I'm like, well, I wonder when someone's going to grab him and do something with him. I know Renegades are doing something with him with Lockie Hendricks. I just hope that matures more. Like, I can see so much potential in all three of those guys, to be honest, though. So that's my chicken salad. Just seeing that there are still people popping up, still people like evolving that we can see in a few years now.
Yeah, and it's like constant, right? It's like, it feels like every week there's someone new for us to talk about, and we do. Every Thursday night at 7:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, we're here at twitch.tv/WrestleRadio Australia. You can come join the conversation like Roddy Online, like Matty Huss, like Andy at Bob Backlund Refrigeration. All of these people come in and they make the show what it is, and you can too. So come to twitch.tv/WrestleRadio Australia, hit the subscribe button, hit the follow button. You can also subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podcast Addict, wherever it is. And if you're on Apple Podcasts, if you can give us a rating and a 5-star review, really helps gets us into more ears. The other thing you can do is follow us on social media at WrestleRadio AU on Twitter and Instagram, WrestleRadio Australia on Facebook. And what did I say? Huh? What?
Nothing, mate.
I'm getting signals.
I was just while you were talking about podcasts, I just wanted to shout out Matty Huss. He's recently been added to the On the Turnbuckle crew. Matt Huswaite, of course, has been added to the On the Turnbuckle crew, who kind of, they're our podcast brothers, and we love hearing.
The problem is, mate, you can't stop Loxcalibur when he starts talking.
Once he gets rolling,
Loxcalibur's off. He's gone.
Loxcalibur.
That boulder is rolling down the hill.
Matt, if you can let us know who you've got coming up next week, we're happy to give it a push. So why don't you drop that in the chat every week, and we're happy to just mention who you've got coming up in case people want to ask questions. Loxcalibur, I apologize. Please.
Well, look, speaking about individuals like Matty Huss, you can also follow all of us individually on social media. I am at Lachlan Albert. Todd is at Beast Eastman. Jamie is at Jamie Apps Media, and he's also, I believe, at Pario Magazine. Jamie, tell us what's going on with Pario Magazine and Oz Wrestling cards.
Next week is a big PWA week on my socials. I'll have Will Keatis on the buzz, chatting all things North Shore Wrestling and the Metro. And Scott Green will be joining me. And then Oz Rest Cards. Shout out to the referee, Rosen from the Oz Pro show. He's going to be in the cards in October.
Wow, there we go.
You're on mute now, Lockie.
You're on mute, Lachlan.
Talking to Jamie
mute yourself when you
show.
coughed, and then you mute yourself afterwards.
Damn it! Talking to Jamie before the show, I would definitely be following Pario Magazine to see what they've got cooking, because it sounds like some exciting stuff coming down the pipeline. Jeff, you can follow at Wrestle_Brainia. What's the go with WrestleBrainia, Jeff?
WrestleBrainia is doing an encore season coming up very, very soon. We're just waiting to finalize some details. Tickets will be on sale soon. I'm sure I'll be mentioning them. And some other exciting things to announce that are just starting to come through the pike. There we go.
Well, those things are coming through the pike. If you want something to come through the mail, I suggest some merch from Wrestle Radio Australia. You can head on over to Redbubble, search for Wrestle Radio Australia. The proceeds don't go to us. They go to Beyond Blue and Gotcha for Life, two awesome charities that support mental health here in Australia. If you want some merch that's not of us, I recommend kickout.com.au for merch of your favourite Queensland wrestlers and wrestlers from around the country. If you're a wrestler and you want to get your merch up there on Kickout, you can message Kickout merch on Instagram. But anyone can go to kickout.com.au and grab those Aussie wrestler merchandise bits and pieces that we all love having in our wardrobe. And what I love is having all of you here in the chat on a Thursday night to be part of this show. I always look forward to it. It's so much fun. Is there anything else that we need to plug, gentlemen?
Well, apparently I found out I have a match coming up.
Hey?
I've heard a rumor. I've heard a rumor that a certain monster
No, I don't
may be
know.
coming.
It has not been announced. All I know is that Jesse Daniels says I have a match. Apparently, I'm on the active roster, which means I can be an active wrestler.
Oh, Jesse can just pick
actively
whoever he
bullshit.
wants.
Yes.
I'm calling it right now. Trent O'Day seems like the man that Jesse sends after people he doesn't like. I want to see Todd Eastman versus Trent O'Day.
I'm a main event wrestler. I don't do dark matches. Okay?
Yeah, okay.
It's just the way. Yeah, I know.
Okay.
It's only because I know he lives all the way up there.
He'll drive down just to hit you for that.
Oh, he won't. He'll forget.
It's school holidays soon. I'd watch out.
We
Also,
have
let's
a
just
thing.
send Dusk
That'll
up
drive
there
me
to get
crazy.
you and Lachlan 2-for-1 deal.
Don't you love it
Dusk
when
loves
we,
me.
when we do what we normally do after the show during the show?
Yeah, that's right. Hey,
also
worth
reminder that your interview with Bobby goes
That's
up
what
on
I was
Monday
about
night.
to say. Make sure you're following Wrestle Radio Australia, not just here on Twitch, but follow what we're doing wherever you get your podcasts, because my interview with Bobby Bishop at Atomic Pro Wrestling was awesome fun. Can't wait to have another chat with Bobby soon, because that was just a joy, and I want to pick his brain a little bit more about wrestling. So
And
get him on.
If you haven't seen it as well, the interview I did last week with backstage segments.
Andrew
What's his name again? Thank you, Andrew Hastings is also up on, which was a really fun. It was a really fun interview talking about.
He's a very entertaining human being, Hastings. Really.
Yeah, very, very. We might get him on in like actually joining us here on the panel sometimes. So
Yeah, because we need more people.
we do.
Rotating
What you don't realize is that I'm bringing all these people in, so eventually I can just move off.
Slide on out.
You can all make me money. And
Absolute bullshit.
Also, I love
You're
the
making
graphic.
money off this?
I love the graphic you did for that interview too. That was awesome.
Oh, thank you.
All right, well, before this becomes too self-congratulatory, please do follow what we're doing here at Wrestle Radio Australia. Can't wait to see you next time. On behalf of the Beast Todd Eastman and Geoff Setti and Jamie Apps, I've been Lachlan Albert. Till next time, have a good one.
Great.
Here I
commentating,
was,
Lachlan.
blaming AEW for feeding you chicken shit, knowing you mindless millennials would be eating it up as if it were chicken salad, when it's really been your fault all along.
Make chicken salad.